Within
two
our
R's or a
yeah, it's within our man.
Spreaker. I never used that. I don't think.
How much longer are we going to be on?
It was just wheels in the sky, wheels within wheels, all giant. I saw wheels in the sky. I saw lights, and they were spinning. Wheels in the sky. Period. There is only one source that can have wheels in the sky. Wheels in the sky. There's one type of wheel in the sky. Period. Ezekiel chapter 1, wheels in the sky, and nothing else.
If I can just say something. It's like a big bully is what you are, Wolfman. You're defending the cushion eject. I would literally beat your ass right now, Wolfman. The fuck? You make me all sad. Back when I was a kid, man, I was so happy when I got a damn boom box. One of them big things that had two speakers on the side. I put it on my shoulder and I throw out the cardboard and try to act like I was breakdancing. And then I got showed up by these little bastards come up there and they got the same boom box, but it's got, when they press eject, it's got cushion eject. When I pressed my eject, the tape just shot out. Theirs came out slowly. And they had other things to adjust the treble, the bass, the left to right speaker for the mono speakers. But it all sounded fucking same. And they're sitting there screwing with their shit for 30 fucking minutes. When I could put a tape in, I could press play, and I could play dance, and I could stop it. I could eject the tape, and it would fly out there, and I could change another fucking beat. And these jackasses over here messing with their cushion eject and their treble bass line. Fuck you guys. That's what you're doing, man. You're fucking the slave to the fucking technology. You're buying into this bullshit. If you had any fucking brains, if you had any old school in you, you could do it like we used to do it. Just press play. Enjoy the eject button. It shoots the shit out. You don't need the cushion eject. You lost your old school. You're turning into Britney fucking Spears here. It'd besmirching your name. Call yourself Wolfman. You fucking sell out. And you make all these excuses for bullshit reasons for your cushion eject. I go back to the town in Oklahoma where I was at. If I see those little cushion eject bastards, I'll beat their ass. Those bitches that had the cushion eject, and these people look down at me. Like I was lower class.
What's going on?
And I think I know who the guy is. I banned him off my YouTube channel.
Cushion eject.
You know.
It's convenient now that you're a grown man.
They really did
that.
Okay, we're live now.
No,
we're not.
Religious nut.
The people that didn't
What
have
the
it.
hell?
To do.
Seriously?
He was obsessed
I wish
with.
This time, you wouldn't have taken my damn call. I was just starting to like you too. Damn it, Wolfman.
You know.
That's why we gotta go live right now. All right, you are on the air with Monster Castle Paranormal, extended Sunday, and we are going into Spreaker. We're off the network, and I'm here with Joe Roop. How's it going, Joe?
Go Seth, go.
Joe Seth, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, so
it's
that's
different.
And we got
show.
Joe Roop though. You got to talk to Ronnie. Ronnie.
I'm here.
Yeah, you got to tell Joe a little bit about what happened to you, man. He doesn't know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I ended up in an alcohol treatment center and I was a diehard atheist, and it used to piss me off just to drive by a church and and they challenged me to look for God, and I was like, I don't believe in God, and I figured they'd kick me out, and but they started talking about how how stupid it was of me to pronounce that there wasn't a God, even though I never took the time to look. And so, like I said, I decided that I would challenge him to show himself to me, prove to me that exists. They did just start their prayer upon a hill, and during that prayer, I said, God, if you're out there and you're real, you need to let me know it. And this dove flew out of the tree, and it hovered right above my head. Feather came out, went floating down the side of my face, and it landed on a cross above my head. And then I was still in denial, and I said, God, if that was you, I need you to let me know that this bird is your sign. And then the bird pooped on my shoulder. And then I stood up, and I don't think I really believed, but I look up at the sky, and thunder rolled across the sky. Like something big was there, and it was leaving. And I don't know if anybody else heard the thunder. And it sent cold chills in my back. And I knew right then that something big, I don't know what it was. I don't put God in a box like some religions do.
Yeah.
I
maybe
believe in
it
God,
was
but
your
I
higher
ain't going to
self.
say I'm a Baptist or, God can be whatever God wants to be, I just know God is God and Ronnie is Ronnie. And, I'm spiritual. I consider myself spiritual, but not religious. And it's got me by. But I even went further. I even went further into that. I asked God, why me? Why did you save my ass? Because I was well on my way to drinking myself to death. And I wasn't that far from it. My wife, who was in there with me, died at my house in my bedroom floor from alcohol. I was dead to death right there in my arms. I got to, and and I was sitting there, and it's gonna be hard staying sober through all this.
Cutting in and out a little bit.
And I never even thought about it. And
yeah, I thought that was me.
And and then but the weird thing was, I was like, God, why'd you go to all that trouble? And I had this weird dream, and God, it was like God would give me driving directions to some place, and I thought it was just a dream. 2 weeks later, I had the same dream, but this time instead of driving directions, it lifted me up, and I was floating up by this 4-story building, and by the back porches, and I could see the guardrails on the patios. I could see the brooms leaning against the doors. It was the most vivid dream I ever had in my whole life. And being that high in the air just made my stomach all trip out. And I looked down to see what the hell was making me rise up like that. And I was standing in a white giant hand, and it gave me directions to the same place. And I know I was supposed to go to this place whenever it's time for me to go there, and they told me exactly what to do. And it's like I've been given instructions on what to do. I don't know when it's going to happen, but whenever he puts me in that place, I know exactly what to do. He showed me twice exactly what I was supposed to do there. And all I can figure is God wants me to do something, and I'm going to do it. When he puts me there at that place, I already know what to do because he's already showed me what to do. And it's nothing mind-bending. He just took an old alcoholic that was well into drinking himself to death and brought him up. And that's kind of the way God is. He uses the worst people for the important shit. Noah was an alcoholic. He built an ark. Weird shit, but that's the weird thing about God is he uses the worst people. And, I tell you what, if I ever found myself in that place where he showed me, I already know what to do. He already showed me what to do. It's nothing amazing. It requires no miracles. It's about a person being at the right place at the right time. And anybody could do it.
That's a whole different Ronnie than I ever heard, man. Wow. That's different.
And, as far as proof goes, Wolfman, I mean, let's say the Jesus story was real. Let's say it was just for a second, right? And then the man's name actually was Yeshua ben Joseph, right? And he came here to tell us what we were really here for and who we really are. And he told everybody, proved everybody he was God incarnate or the ultimate consciousness, right? However you want to say it. The one time the man did try to prove himself to all these people that need proof, what happened to him? And do you think that wouldn't happen again? Anytime anybody, or if God ever did want to come say it, prove himself to anybody in physical form, it would be the same thing. They'd say he was the devil, or they'd kick him across the road, or
Didn't
they'd
the
make a
Shroud of
mockery of
Turin?
him.
Doesn't the Shroud of Turin kind of prove that though? The Shroud. That's why I had that show about the Shroud of Turin. I was hoping this guy would like show the evidence of the Shroud of Turin because this thing, the scientific analysis of the Shroud of Turin is unexplainable. And I'm thinking this guy that disappeared in Brazil there, if there's evidence of the same sort of possibly anomalous event and evidence of the tapestries or any fabrics or anything in the room.
Did you hear about that when I was telling you on my show that they found just a few days ago a chalice or a cup that had writing on it, and it was written in Latin and it said Christ the Magician on the cup.
Yeah.
And it's dated back to the time of Christ.
Yeah,
in
I
that
know.
area.
And that goes back to where I come from with some research I did that shows that Christ may have been the son of Cleopatra and was taught by magicians in Egypt.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if
Yeah,
that's
but see,
true.
Jesus Christ is a Greek name. And the Greeks translated it into. They put that in the New Testament, but that wasn't the man's name. He was a rabbi, and there's even Hebrew books that talk about how he was an evil magician.
I don't know, but I know he was a magician and he had magic, and whether it was mind over magic or sleight of hand, I don't know. But I think
David
that.
Blaine.
I mean, you got people like, what do you call them? Dynamo walking on water. I know how they do it. I know how they do that. But it's, some people are fooled by it.
I don't know, man. We don't know. Trying to define it is crazy. I think we should stick to what they're doing now in science as far as quantum physics and all this stuff goes. And, as far as evolving the planet as humans, we need to cut religion out, I think. Personal spirituality, though, is quite okay. I think it's a good thing. Where did Joseph go?
I'm still here. I'm just because since we're in the Spreaker mode, that makes it a different show. So now I'm just another person on the line with you guys. So I'm trying to be.
You can swear and stuff now. You can swear all you want. It's on my network.
And I know you don't think astrology's real, Joseph, and I know you got a lot of books you got to read. But
no, I don't believe astrology is real.
If you ever want to pick it up, you know who John Anthony West is, right?
No, I do not. Who was that, or is that? I don't know.
He's a satire Egyptologist. He did the movies of Magical Egypt, Magical Egypt, and proved all the.
Sorry.
Yeah, he proved all the archaeologists wrong about their timelines and all that stuff by showing them. But anyways, he wrote a book called A Case for Astrology, and he wrote it in a way as if he was in court to prove that there's something to it based on what the Egyptians wrote, not what we do on the newspapers and stuff. It's pretty
Personally speaking, no, I still don't believe that astrology is real. Because in ancient times, you hit the nail on the head. Ancient Egypt, they did not have the knowledge of science that we do today. They had the concept slowly. Of course, star means basically wandering planet, if I understand correctly. I forgot which ancient Greek person that coined the term planet. I forgot who it was, or stars, I should say. But back then they didn't know. Again, like I said before, they didn't have any better science that we know today. They didn't have the tools of science that we do today. Much, they didn't have it back in the 1500s, like Kepler, Copernicus, and all those other people. Well, I should say the Renaissance times. So the best they could do at the time was to use. The best they could do at the time was to use stories that they told each other, and when they looked in the skies, it's kind of like looking at clouds. When you see a puppy dog and when you see a cloud formation, it looks like a puppy dog to you. So that's where you get that's where you get astrology, because that's what they had at the time. And we've got way too many satellite images. We've had rovers go to Mars and things of that nature. We know better, guys. And deep down inside, people just want to believe what they want to believe. And when they hear atheists like myself, and like I said, I remember being a believer, and I was actually offended that there's this non-believer, and I get it that you're not used to running into atheists. But, not everyone, the bird situation, pooping on, and like I said, when I was young, a bird just happened to poop on me. Does that mean some gods are real or something?
Can I ask you a simple question, though?
Yeah.
So you don't believe there's anything after or outside of this existence, right? This perception of existence, correct?
You mean as in like as in like the idea of gods or afterlife? Is that what you mean?
Oh, he means the five.
No, I just
senses.
mean outside this. Like what we see, what we feel. There's nothing outside of what.
Oh,
we're living.
Well, yes, yeah, okay. I think I see what you're saying.
Craig's jumping
yes
in.
And no. Yes and no. Let me
Root.
explain why I say it that way. I'm not being a smartass. There's a reason why I say that.
No,
Okay.
I just want just a simple answer, though.
Okay, that's what I'm about to do.
Just because I want to write down
Craig's Skype is screwing up, man. Oh.
Yeah. As I was saying, he's kind of cut. Okay. Like for instance, atoms. We can't see atoms with the naked eye, but we see the effects. From microwaves to weather and things of that nature. But now that we got the electronic microscope several decades ago, we can actually see atoms, well, at least effects of atoms anyway. So yes and no, we can't see it, but that's been proven scientifically. So therefore, I know atoms exist. Now, until you show me some gods, and I'm using plural.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Because everyone's still using the word God because we're used to it in Western society.
I understand what you're saying exactly. Okay.
Okay, I got one for you. I got one for you, brother. Okay, wait a minute. I got one for him. I got a stumper.
Well, can I just finish this line of questioning?
Go ahead, Craig.
Oh, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. Okay, so this existence, like, right? They can calculate the Big Bang down to the last milliseconds, right? So you believe that?
Well,
yes or no?
To the best of their knowledge.
Just simple. Yeah, right? So what created the Big Bang? What was before the Big Bang?
It was not a god. I think that's even a more ridiculous notion than a Big Bang happening on its own. So some god is just hanging around in eternity. Oh, I think that's what creates the universe. That doesn't make any sense.
But I'm not speaking about like some entity that sat there and said, okay, Big Bang. But like, just what's beyond it?
I don't like I said before. Just because I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Okay, so
sometimes one of the best answers. I'm trying to answer your question, sir. Sometimes one of the best answers is I don't know when you don't know. That doesn't therefore equate there's a God. If someone stole my lunch at work and I didn't see the person, it must have been a leprechaun that stole it. That's from an atheist standpoint. With all due respect, sir, that's what it sounds like to me.
That sounds like you should be committed to a psychiatric hospital. Yeah, right? Joseph,
Mike.
Right?
Sorry.
It sounds like you should be committed to a psychiatric hospital from a professional point of view.
Thorzy.
No.
Who's that?
What Craig is saying is that you don't believe in miracles as long as you can get that one miracle that you can't explain. Then
Well,
you can
that's not a
explain
miracle. That's
everything else.
science. That's science. That's not a miracle.
It's science.
It's just
to the point
I don't
of the
know.
Big Bang is what it
Obviously,
says.
none of us were there when it happened, but it
Still
doesn't
just
therefore mean it's a miracle.
By the way.
And see, this is part of science, and I know it drives believers or people of faith, religion, whatever you want to call it. You guys are still believers from an atheist standpoint. Whether you're a deist or you're spiritual, it's still believing in something
Of course
that,
I
from
do.
my point of view, you don't
We're
see.
not the mad ones,
The
though.
best
No,
that scientists
belief-
are able to track based on Doppler shifts.
My beliefs
they can see
are
the Doppler
based
shift
on
using-
reality, based on real events that happened to me.
I'm
That
trying-
is where my beliefs come from.
know,
So
the
yes, if
scientists
that's
can't
what you
even
mean
prove
by
the
a
earth is
believer,
round.
then I am a believer. I believe what I see.
Okay,
Right in
but-
front of my
okay, you
eyes.
guys, can I say this? Just because I say that, I'm not trying to offend you guys. I'm just saying that's what you guys are. You do believe. You believe in something. It may not necessarily be strict Christianity or whatever denomination, but you do believe in something. You guys admitted it yourself. So me using the word
Absolutely.
believers, it's not pejorative. It's not meant to be negative or anything like that. Because the truth is, you guys are believers. Now
Man,
you believe in
If you know what I
different
should
things,
have
but
done.
nevertheless, you still
One of these
didn't you guys say
times-
that you believe in such and such?
Joseph,
You-
we
you
gotta
guys are
have
the ones
someone
who use
else
that
on
word.
your team, eh? I'll get you someone else on your team. The next time, we'll get the famous caller from Art Bell, the atheist, on with you.
Oh, I work alone. I mean, that's up to you. I mean, it's your show. I mean, if you want to get someone else on, I personally like to work by
Oh, man.
myself.
This guy
I've done
was
that
them
team
together.
thing, and I'm not so good at it.
this guy was unbeatable.
I'm not so convinced in science. I mean, every time they prove something, something else gets shown that it's not real. You know, just
Well, okay,
I
I
mean, I love science.
Well, you know, even
okay?
even
I do,
science
but I don't
says
think it's
that there's
based on
something
proven
giving
things.
order to chaos. There's always, every time technology lets us look a little bit deeper into the atoms and stuff like that, there's a whole nother order to the chaos that was already there pre-existing. And it's like, wow, you know, why is this like that? Why is this like that? And every time we get some new technology and we're seeing some, and you know, I've read where some guys like say, man, you know, this science may one day prove that God exists. Not yet, but this guy believed
which
that.
gods are you
one day
talking about?
it's
I
possible.
forgot your name, sir. I forgot your name.
Ronnie?
Ronnie, that's it, Ronnie. See, Ronnie, which gods are you talking about? Because you're just using the word God, and for me, as an atheist, to me, there are several notions. I don't believe in any of them, but there are more than one. There are more than one beliefs in the Judeo-Christian viewpoint of God. Which ones are you talking about?
Okay,
Are
wait
you
a minute.
are you meaning
Ronnie,
like God as in
Ronnie.
Jesus Christ
Ronnie,
kind of God, or
tell him about your goblin attack, and maybe he'll figure this out.
no? I'm being rhetorical. Actually, I'm being rhetorical.
I'm
Mike.
thinking it, Ronnie. Explain your goblin attack to him, and then maybe he'll clue into where we're coming from.
Well, you know, when I say God, it just means a higher power, something greater than ourselves out there that created us, that started us, that knows more than we know, and it could be, hey, this thing could be alien, it could be anything that, you know. But even the scientists say, you know, it gives order to chaos, and when technology increases and we look deeper in everything and we see, you know, this newfound structure of order, and they're like, you know, the Earth has to be way older than we think it is for everything to evolve like it does, you know. So it's a big mystery as to who did it, what did it, you know. But it's like there's something mysterious out there, you know, a higher power, a God. You know, I don't want to put God in a box and say, you know, this is what God is, and I don't think anybody really knows
Ronnie,
what it
can I
is.
ask you this, Ronnie? Why does it have to? Why are you limited to just one God? How can it be? Why can't it be like 3 or 20? I did some research about ancient Egyptian gods for a science fiction story, which I never ended up writing years ago. When after the movie 300 came out, I was kind of inspired to write something my own. But anyway, and I did research on ancient Egyptian gods. They had like hundreds of, you know, the god of death, the god of.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
why are
saying
you
there
limited to
ain't
just
more
one
than
god,
one.
Ronnie?
You know, there could be the Greek gods. All could have been true stories, you know, instead of made up stuff. You know, I mean, we don't know. All we know is that life is way more complicated than something that would just simply evolve. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, I noticed that you say God, and that's your bit. I'm not criticizing you at all, but I'm just picking with your brains, and that's what we're here about, right, on the show, right? and
Right.
because you guys do that to me, and I like to do it with you guys too. But I just noticed that you just automatically say God, and
Oh, yeah,
from
it's a
what your
a
story, what you were
generalized
saying
term for,
earlier,
yeah,
that you
higher
were
power, something
like in
greater
deep,
than us,
like you're kind of like not experience. What's the word I'm trying to say? You're like on a
Mother
journey to
Goddess.
discover, see if God was real.
Mother
But I just find it interesting
Goddess
that
is
you
what
automatically
I
go
say.
to one God.
Oh
Mother
no, there's,
Goddess.
I
Goddess.
have no idea. There could be a whole family of them. We don't know.
Bigfoots. There's
Nobody
a family.
knows really.
There's a family of Bigfoots in the woods behind my house. I have many thoughts of astral travel, and I've actually experienced fairies.
The God of the forest.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. No, I actually, okay, how do you explain this one? I I approach a graveyard, and the fog is only coming from the graveyard. No, there's ground fog, but it's only drifting across the ground from the graveyard itself. No, nowhere else is there ground fog, just from that little tiny old graveyard. And as I walk up to it, and this is real, this happened to me. Everyone else saw it too. I was the only one brave enough to walk towards it. It happened on our farm.
Oh, sorry.
And the fog was going across the road from the graveyard, but there was no other ground fog anywhere else. And
The
as
closest. Oh, are you sorry.
I'm telling you, Joseph, what happened to me.
Okay, I was trying to see when we could come in. I wasn't sure if you were done or not. That's all.
No, you can jump in any time. That's why I paused.
Well, okay, real quick, my closest guest. Remember, you're dealing with dead bodies and perhaps the decompositioning of some of the bodies.
These graves,
in addition
no,
to
wait
the
a
ground
minute, wait a
fog?
minute. No,
I've seen plenty of ground
whoa,
fog.
whoa.
We have a lot of.
Okay, stop right there. This graveyard has not
I just said I'm
not
guessing.
been
I just said I'm
used
guessing.
for over 200 years. The stones are 1800s. Okay, so there's no decomposing bodies left.
Okay, it could be that because of it's a cemetery, so therefore it's condensed. You have a lot of greenery. And
There's no, it's a desert,
I've been
and
a few
it's like a
cemeteries, and when
desert,
you look
man.
around,
Dude,
when you look around cemeteries,
no,
it's not so much grass as
it's
as
like a
cemetery.
desert. It's like a desert. The farm is like a desert. It's very everything is very very dry and dying. If you don't irrigate, then it will die in the middle of summer at that time. It would all die.
In Arizona.
And we don't irrigate
Yeah.
that side, so there's no moisture there at all. So you can excuse that one as well. Out of the picture. That's not an explanation.
Okay, well then I don't know. Under the circumstances from this anecdote that I'm hearing from you, Michael, the best I can say, and that was my best guess under what I heard from you. So without knowing other situations, which I normally try to get, because when I do my own informal investigations, because I basically do, I don't know. But that doesn't therefore follow that it's some kind of supernatural thing just because I don't know.
Dude, there's friggin' smoke coming from gravestones from the 1800s, but nowhere else, drifting all around my feet, and you're telling me that's not supernatural?
I personally don't. Again, I am a skeptic. I told you this when we first met. I am a skeptic. No, I do not believe supernatural. But based on what you're telling me, that's all I have to go on.
Okay, how do you explain?
I would have to be there myself, or I would have to.
All right, how do you explain a fireball in the sky chasing me through the freaking tobacco fields? How do you explain that one? And shooting
I don't
down,
explain it,
and it's
but I also
shooting
don't
down.
want to offend you because
This thing was
was
shooting down. Okay, it's shooting down beams of energy, like Star Wars. Zap, and there's this like triangular freaking zap, like lightning. But in between the triangle, shut up, Kurt. I was not. I was irrigating my tobacco field. And I had a 2-hour loss of time as well. But the thing zapped like a triangle, and it was like lightning. But in between the triangle was like almost like a tie-dye, sort of like a blue and white cloudy effect. but it went zap, like lightning. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It was like something out of Star Trek, man. I should try to do a visualization and make a thing for people to see.
Maybe record it. Next time it happens, maybe record it.
No, next time it happens, things like that just don't happen again, man.
But that's just it. It just if you guys could take from a point of view from a skeptic, maybe if I don't use the word atheist, that might help be a little bit more palatable for some people. But as a skeptic, I mean, it just seems like it's always convenient that for some reason someone didn't have something to record with, or it doesn't happen again, or there's always some reason why we don't see proof of it.
If you,
and just believe me,
if it happens to you, let me tell you. Let me tell you, man. When it happens to you, you are so dumbfounded by it, and you're thrown into a whole different reality, and all of a sudden everything's real, and that's real. Oh my God, that's real, and you're so shocked by this. You don't think about getting a camera out or doing anything like that. Sorry, man.
I understand what you're saying, but can you see from my point of view, when you hear thousands of people say that, then you got a pattern.
I wouldn't lie to you.
And there's always, with modern technology, with all these smartphones, now, mind you, we have a lot of UFO footage now. Now, we also have a lot of drones, so that just complicates things now these days when you're talking about UFOs, specifically UFOs, because now there are thousands of drones now. Now, I actually saw one for the first time in my life being used by the Lincoln Police Department here in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was at one of the protests I was at. Doesn't matter. It was recently, but anyway. And I was like, wow, this is the first I have actually seen a drone being used. It was by the police department.
Okay.
So, and it was a beautiful structure.
What I said
and if you didn't know any better, you would have thought that was, as people say, UFOs. So, I mean,
I'm not
UFOs, the literal meaning is unidentified.
That's right.
Flying
we don't know
or
what it is.
Floating object.
That's right. We don't know what it is. We don't know what
exactly,
that is.
and unidentified.
It doesn't mean you're a lunatic. You're just saying.
A weather balloon.
All we're saying is we don't know what that is.
Ezekiel chapter 1. Only.
We saw something. We don't know what it is.
If I can say this real quick, you guys, I'm a lot like the fictional character out of X-Files, like Mulder. I seriously want to believe
Ronnie,
that they're specifically aliens.
Joe,
not God.
Actually, Joe Roop,
now.
are you still there?
I would love to see him. What's that?
Joe Roop, are you still there? Ronnie Dawson, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell my guest about your experience a little bit? About your goblin attack?
I'll make it quick. We've been seeing some UFO craft. I mean, in the daylight at night, and I'd seen like 2 in a 7-day period, and we wanted to get some footage of it, and I wanted to shoot a laser at the damn thing and see if the beam deviated because of the propulsion system of the craft. So we were UFO watching. We were hoping to get a chance to get some footage of it and catch the laser being shot at it and bending towards the propulsion system on it. That way we'd confirm that, this wasn't just lights in the nighttime. That's a problem that you have when you take a picture at night. It's just lights in the dark, and skeptics are going to say that could be a street light. And so we wanted to catch the laser and the UFO at night. And anyway, we got the opportunity to pull this thing off, and we shot the laser around the craft, but it didn't. The light did not deviate like we had hoped, and we failed to get some footage of it. But 2 days later, it must have pissed whose spaceship that was off, because they came and paid me a little visit in my home. I just laid down in bed, and my feet had just left the floor, and I had laid back in the bed, and they pinned me in that bed, and they came in my house and ransacked it. And I had lights on, and I seen them running around the living room, and they were opening drawers, and they were digging through shit. They were 18 inches tall. And they were basically ransacking my house looking for something. I assumed the laser, because the whole thing ended when they finally got to where the laser was being kept. But at one point, they run underneath the bed, and they were bouncing my ass up and down off the bed, and it was like they had an EMP device that separated. My mind could tell my body to jump out of bed and yell and grab something to hit them with, and I could not move. They had me absolutely frozen in bed. And my cat that was in the house too ran in there and jumped into bed with me. And when they started bouncing the bed, he took off. So I was watching all this going on, and finally, when they finally left, my body was acting. My body jumped out of that bed, and I grabbed a golf club and I cursed at them, and it was like they had broken up the signal between my brain and my muscles. And when they unfroze me, I just acted on something I tried to do like 5 minutes earlier. And I went on a big alien hunt in my house trying to find these damn things. Really pissed off, and I was going to kill them, man. I was going to have some proof that aliens exist because I was fixing to kill one of these son of bitches. And
were they more like the lizard kind, or more like grays, or because the prevailing viewpoint of aliens is like more like
I've never seen anything
lizard type
like
or the grays.
No, they weren't like your typical gray aliens. These things were, they had a battle armor or an exoskeleton on them.
Right.
And it had like a humanoid face, and I never did get a good look at its hands, but its arms were really long, and I'm not so sure that it may not have been part insect. And I seen them move at such amazing speed. Your eyes couldn't even focus on them when they were moving, but when they stopped, you could see them clear. And they run on all fours, and they stood on two, and they moved so fast that your eyes couldn't even focus on them when they were running. But when they stopped, you could see them. And then they run up underneath my bed and started bouncing the hell out of my bed and trying to dig through the mattress. And I had claw marks underneath the mattress. They had tore my box spring cover. There was claw marks.
What did you do with the mattress? Can I ask you, Ron, what did you do with the mattress with the claw marks? Got rid of that son of a bitch because I was afraid, as much pulling and stuff as they had done up underneath there, I was afraid that they dug something in there and hid something. I would have kept it for proof, part of evidence. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
I would have. Yeah, that's what I would have done.
I thought about calling the police, but I'm a hazardous material transport driver, and I don't need that kind of, people don't want you to drive their gas trucks when you see shit like this, And I couldn't come right out and call the police. I really wanted to call the police and see if we could get some kind of prints and stuff, but I couldn't do it because it jeopardized my whole career.
I have heard about that. People's careers being ruined.
Yeah, there was two people I could tell.
Now people are actually making careers off it.
Yeah. And it was like, it's not something you can't really tell people. It's, sad that it is that way. But like I said, for every UFO story that's been told, I bet there's 5 that's never been told.
Well, real quick, guys, this is the closest thing I come to a UFO, and I'm going to use the word story, and you'll see why. This will take a few seconds, I promise. My first wife, years ago, and we were driving in a kind of a more isolated area in Lincoln, Nebraska. Is by the airport, and we were driving back home, and it was late at night, and I saw some kind of flash for sure, and I think she saw it too because we both like, oh, what was that? And we kept looking, and this is about like 15 years ago, so that's a long time ago. And we were when we were going back home or going back out, whatever, that same night, come to find out it was fireworks. It was not 4th of July, United States, It was, I don't know what the occasion was, but it definitely was fireworks. It was like, oh. And I was disappointed. Like I said, guys, that was a miniature investigation. And it was, at the time, for me specifically, it was a UFO, because I didn't know at the time that was fireworks. And when I found out, I accepted that it was not. So, I mean, yes, I would love to see aliens, whatever form they come in. Whether it's, whether it's like a single cell or...
Go to Google and look at Ronnie Dawson UFO, and I put some original pictures there that I got from a year after that incident happened. I seen 3 different craft, and they flew a mothership over the top of me. They had to be 1/8 a mile wide and 1/2 a mile long, and I actually got some footage of it. And you can go to Google and type in Ronnie Dawson UFO, and it'll show you those pictures. And on the surface of that damn thing, from 1/2 mile away, this thing is as tall as a telephone pole. It's this huge insectoid creature standing there on the surface of this thing. And,
What's your last name?
I've
Ronnie,
had
what
experts from all
again?
the world look at this footage, and nobody's been able to debunk it. They've told me what camera I used. They told me what software I used to brighten the picture, and nobody's ever disproved it. And there's a picture of an alien on it, not a little gray alien like everybody thinks there is. I'm not even so sure that those things are even real. You want to see a real alien? You can go to Google.
What's your last name so I can look it up? Is it Ron or Ronnie?
Ronnie, Ronny.
So I can look it up.
Dawson UFO. And I guarantee you this thing, everybody in the world has researched this thing. And it's original for the camera. They told me what software I used, and they told me what degree I brightened it. And that's all that's ever been done to it. It's never, image creation software has never touched it. And they can confirm that. And,
okay.
And I've had some world-class people look at this thing. The American Skeptic Society wanted to study it. And I turned the original images
I
over
noticed
to
that you
them.
said they wanted to. Did they actually study it?
Yeah.
Investigate it?
Yeah, they asked me if they could take a look at it, and they wanted the original footage. And I sent it to them.
What was their
I never heard
conclusion?
another word from them. They said it wasn't enough evidence to be conclusive or something to that extent, but they certainly didn't say it wasn't anything.
Well, it's not quite the same as confirming that it happened, but it is intriguing that they said that it was not enough to, it depends on where you're coming from. Everyone's biased. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
If you want to believe, you're going to say it proves that it happened. If you're a skeptic like me, it's saying something's not conclusive, enough to debunk. It's not quite the same as confirming that the event happened.
I absolutely.
That's just my view.
And
That's
they're
my
working
viewpoint.
hard to confirm it. 'Cause
absolutely
one of the pictures I have has a star
your
field pattern in the
opinion,
background.
Joseph.
And they said that, the star field pattern I captured along with the footage that I captured shows that this thing is bigger than anything we got flying in the sky. And then that's there on Google too. When you see it, looks like a star field pattern underneath it.
Real quick, here's another one. Okay, that alien convention put on by History Channel when I was in San Jose last year, back in October. This is what's interesting for me. A couple of the staffers at the convention, a young lady, her friend, a boyfriend, whatever he was, they said they had gone to, where's Area 51? I always get this two mixed up. There's Roswell and Area 51. I think it's Area 51 they said they went to. They didn't go to it, but she lives close to it, and she took her binoculars, or whatever it was, telescope, whatever. And according to them, and I want everyone to hear this is important because it has to do with the date and time, so that way we can at least measure something. She said every Wednesday night she would see lights around Area 51. And I was like, what do you mean late? You mean like in the AM? She's like, yeah, kind of like bleeds from like say 10:30 or 11 o'clock to, I guess, like past 1 in the morning or some 12 in the morning. Area 51 area. So
yeah.
Wednesday night, guys, whoever's close, if UFO Bros, I follow them on Twitter too. I think they may be checking it. I don't know. Those guys are funny and serious, but you got to take them seriously too. But anybody else who may be close to that, seriously, Area 51 Wednesday nights that bleed into Thursday mornings. Look for lights in that area. That's what I was told by the staffer who lives not far from Area 51 when I was at the Alien Con in Silicon Valley last year. Now, I just have her words to go on, but that's what she told me. But anyway, it gives us something. We have a time and we have a date. Well, no, well, not date so much as a day. So that at least we know to check for, there's a window of time that anyone that's near Area 51, check it out. I mean, it doesn't hurt to investigate. Like I said, I'm a skeptic, but I'm not a debunker. If I can see proof, fine, show it to me. But it'd be great if someone, and use my other Twitter feed, Joseph Moore, not the Master Mastaba, but please send it to me on Twitter, Joseph Moore.
Most impressive.
Just that simple on Twitter. And if you have any proof of that in Area 51 on Wednesday nights until Thursday mornings, please tweet me. And I hope the government doesn't do anything.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Indeed.
Yes,
But I'm just
so
saying
do I.
that's the closest clue I've gotten from anyone about Area 51.
Yeah,
Really?
the thing about lights is, the problem I've got a lot of pictures of lights, and you got nothing. I mean, I've got video of light sequencing and stuff, but then again, it's nothing. They could say it could be military flares. They could say it could be lights from a DC-9. You know, it's just you can't really prove anything with pictures of night lights in the darkness. You know, it just
especially these days and age when you have a lot of airplanes and satellites. I saw the International Space Station a couple of times.
Yeah.
It looks like a plane, but just a small dot.
Your midichlorian level is low.
Yeah,
We got a lot of satellites up there too, not just drones. There are also satellites that we can see late at night or early in the morning. So
Really?
you got to factor that in too. So I mean, because we live in a high-tech world, so when you see UFOs, everybody, it
All
could,
those
you got to
lights are all just
scientific
make-believe.
method or part of that is deductive,
It's all in
kind
your
of
head.
deductive reasoning. Kind of go down a list of what it could and could not be, and could it be a satellite?
Just make
Yeah,
believe.
and if it is a satellite, do you see strobe lights? Well, then if you see strobe lights, it's not a satellite.
So it's like
you can see,
so like
if you look up
we're
the
like
International
Peter Pan,
Space
like
Station.
we're like Peter Pan. So like we're everyone's just make believe that these things are abducting us, and we got shit in our arm and stuff like that. Anyways,
No, I
that's
don't
you
know
know
what
what
you mean as far as
that
like,
has
as far as
nothing to
what
do
Michael
with
leading-
religion or anything. But you're a skeptic, and we're talking about UFOs now. So this is a whole
right,
different.
right. We shifted to UFOs, right?
This is a whole different subject.
Yeah, you're right. It is. You're absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that one, Michael.
Yeah.
UFO is very different from the supernatural.
Yeah, that's right. This is something that could be real, whether you are whatever, if you're an atheist or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, the atheist, that's more religious.
No,
thing.
yeah,
I
that's
prefer
right.
to
It
use the word
doesn't
skeptic
matter
it comes
when
down to, like,
UFOs are abducting people, and this is really happening. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
I don't think the ET care.
They don't care. They don't care.
Well,
So-
I was just going to suggest to people, if I can, real quick, Michael, and everyone else. Like I said, a couple times I saw the International Space Station. Try to rule these out. If you do see a UFO, that's awesome. Try to record it, but just keep these in mind. When satellites, you can see in space sometimes they're just like look like a star. Just they go faster than they go slower than a plane in the sky, but you can definitely see the arc. But you cannot see strobe lights. That is most likely a satellite or the International Space Station. So rule that out. And okay, strobe lights. That's very important. Does it look like it's like 30,000 feet in the air? Because our planes fly that high. If you see strobe lights, and especially contrail, most likely that's a jet. Try to rule that out. Drones. If you see drones, some drones don't. Most of them do have lights. Pretty much all of them, don't they? They tend to have lights. Listen for the sound of the whirring sounds of motors. If you can hear like a whirring sound of motors, chances are that's a drone.
Listen
I'm
to
just
me.
saying these are things that people can do if they want to look for UFOs.
Joseph,
Just
this
kinda
is
try to,
your,
like,
this is
before
your,
you start
hey,
getting all excited like I did.
hey, don't,
that one time when I saw fireworks.
You're totally
Go through
ignoring
the
me.
list real quick and
Wait a
try to
minute.
rule out if it's not one of these
You're
other
supposed to
things.
be my Padawan learner, aren't you not? This is the Dark Lord of Star Wars. Hello, Joseph?
Darth Vader?
Yes, it's the Dark Lord from Star Wars, yes.
Darth Vader's boss.
Yes,
Hopefully I'll be seeing you in a few
his
days.
stinking boss, yes. Your midichlorian level is getting low. You need to ingest another victim.
Interesting. You
Yes,
should be a voice actor, Michael.
your midichlorian level is very low, Joseph. You need to
Yes, it is.
come to the dark side. Please,
Some say I
come
already
to
am.
the dark side. We will show you energy. You will
He does that pretty well, doesn't he?
You
Seriously,
will
dude, you can be a voice
find
actor.
the energy you deserve, and you will be nurtured with this dark energy.
Sounds kind of kinky.
That's pretty good,
What the
actually.
hell? I don't know what's going on, man. Yeah, what just happened, man? It's
I think
Wolfman.
you
I'm
got
back.
that.
Wolfman's back. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Man, what was that?
What the hell just happened?
I don't know, man. Shit, that was crazy,
possessed by the
man.
Dark Lord.
Sound like it. How quick he came
Demonic
back.
possession.
I don't know what that was. Anyway, yeah, that was groovy, though. Oh, man.
Most impressive.
Yes, indeed. It
Astral
was
projection there?
Most impressive.
Hey, if you guys don't mind, can I just finish my my line of questioning there?
yeah.
That wasn't
Oh.
against you, eh? Like I wasn't presuming anything. What my point was that.
No, I didn't
we
think that.
can't
I honestly didn't
No, I
think
know
that.
it's okay. Just okay, but my point is just
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
sure.
unexplained, right? So when people have these experiences like where they can't explain it and they assume it's something, right? And they're just religion's the way to explain that, you know?
Yes, I agree.
But atheism, my point is don't you think atheism is a bit of a closed-minded way to think about it? Because if you can't explain it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you don't understand.
We're conflicting kind of a couple of things. That's why for one thing, there's supernatural and there's aliens. Aliens fall more under the closer to the paranormal. That's why I just said a few minutes ago to Michael or whoever it was I was talking to. When it
It
comes
was
down to
Darth
talking about
Vader,
UFOs, I
actually.
prefer to use the word skeptic because when you say atheist, and yeah, I'm a strong atheist, I will always be an atheist. But that's
Darth
when we're
Vader
talking about
with a
supernatural
D,
or
capital
religious or
D,
spiritual
Darth
stuff.
Vader.
Because when you're talking about UFOs, that's not spiritual. That's paranormal. You know, like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness monster, because it is a possibility, and it's been known to happen, like in the deforestation, the rainforest being cut down. Scientists are discovering so many species, like amphibious and bugs that we've never seen before. So there is a possibility. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. There could be some kind of humanoid species out in different wood areas that just simply were never discovered because human beings, we don't build cities right in the middle of forests. So I'm just saying, so that's a different when you're talking atheist versus skeptic. I prefer to use the word skeptic when it comes to the UFOs because you're blurring different things. One, atheism deals with theological speculation and religion and spirituality, whereas UFOs,
We would be
that's
honored
paranormal.
if you would
Does
join
that
us.
help a little bit?
Yeah, man, it helps a lot.
Well, yeah, but my point is that like if you can't explain it, you can't really
Don't
shoot it down. Is all I'm
underestimate the
saying.
Force.
And when it comes to aliens, like okay, yeah, sure. You have some sort of belief towards them, but why is it different?
No,
when it
not
goes
belief.
towards-
Well, go ahead.
Just
go ahead,
wait.
sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
But why is it different when you start talking about religion? All of a sudden, you flip a script, and
No,
you're completely opposed to it.
I didn't do a good job
It's a
explaining.
question. I'm not
I
trying to make you
find
mad.
your lack of faith.
Oh no! I'm not mad. I'm just I hear this like for several years. I guess I don't do a good job of explaining the difference. But go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, that was it. Like, what's the difference between slightly believing or even having a chance of believing UFOs, but then when it comes to religion?
Oh, okay. I just said a few seconds, but that's okay. I don't mind saying it again. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying a different tack here. Okay. UFOs. Think about the basic concept of, traditionally speaking, when we say UFOs, what is it we're talking about? Traditionally, not just flying saucers, but just some kind of alien craft that's
Something we can't explain and don't understand.
Well, that's a bit vague, but traditionally speaking, UFO deals with some kind of technology involved.
Okay,
some kind of aliens
what about
that have,
pilots that have seen
rock-
it? Like little accounts of pilots and military people that have seen them, and it's documented. Like that's just real.
But
man.
the basic difference is the key word that I used was technology. See, it is. I mean, look at us as human beings. We are we keep looking for aliens when we are the aliens. We are human beings.
I
We
agree
are
with
the ones
that. We
sending
are
our
now.
craft
You're coming
out
down
throughout
to
the
it.
solar
Now we're
system.
coming down
We
to it.
sent it
Okay.
Mars.
Okay.
Now we've arrived
hey,
at
you know what?
Jupiter's,
You know what?
proper.
Fuck, man. Now you're coming down to it. Now we're coming down to something that we both agree with. And when it riddles down to and boils down to is what, Joseph? What does it boil down to?
Are you being rhetorical, or you really want me to answer?
No,
that?
I want an answer. Like, I think it's the same as mine.
What it boils down to is it's the tangible and technology. There is a possibility. I don't think it's likely, but it is possible that some other aliens can arrive here via technology. That's not the same as like from a religious standpoint. When you believe in spiritual beings like afterlife, and that deals with it. That's a hyper, on a different level. When you're talking coming back from the dead, or some gods whatever existed that's outside of the universe and create. That's very different from technology. But I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but do you understand where I'm coming from? You don't have to necessarily agree with me.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay, but that's where I'm coming from.
I understand exactly where you're coming from now. It's because you haven't experienced anything even remotely like
that. No,
that's right.
I just told you about the UFO. Remember, I saw the lights, the fireworks.
No,
for me, at that time.
Just hold on a second.
Guys, at that time, that was my UFO moment. I saw something I couldn't explain, and then come to find out I was wrong. It was just fireworks.
The same thing again. But what you're trying to say, like what you're telling me, literally, is what you're telling me, is that you can see a UFO. It's in our reality, so you can tangibly understand that. But because
it's not an understanding. I understand. It's not just understanding.
Jesus, man.
It's what's logical.
Okay, yeah, sure. That's logical. An alien spacecraft flying around in our atmosphere, but
do you understand why I'm saying it's logical?
No, all I'm saying is that you haven't experienced the spirituality side. You haven't experienced anything you can't explain.
I was raised Pentecostal. I understand how it is. Maybe you didn't hear that part. I don't know. I have to remind myself. It's possible you didn't hear that part. I was a Christian for most of my life, longer than I've been an atheist. Okay, I know how it is to be a believer. But some people just change. Some people experience. Some people go from being an atheist to becoming a believer. That's their business.
This is awesome radio.
But I'm not going to tell you something that's not true. It's true.
KTLK, the Fridge.fm.
But you don't know. You don't know aliens are true, and you don't know spirituality is true. How come
okay.
No, listen. Let me finish one sentence, please.
I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I was still talking, like mid-sentence.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
But okay, both of them are unexplained to you. Why is one less valid than the other, except for that you can see it? You know what I mean? Just let me finish. No, this is just my point, is that the only difference is that you can't see it with your eyes. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Never mind.
No, keep going. You're
can't
awesome.
See it with
this
your
is
eyes.
awesome
you can't
radio,
see it in
man.
Our physical reality.
It's not just what you see with your eyes or not. That's why I said the electronic microscope. You can actually see atoms. I guess maybe I go too many tangents. I have to do more poetry than I do.
I'm not trying to
Well, I'm trying to answer your questions. You keep going. Would you like for me to answer, or are you trying to?
No. All I'm trying to do is just make a simple point: is that you can't experience it in this reality, so you don't believe it's true. That's the only difference between.
Well, you're partially correct in that. Because I am an atheist. I do not believe that there are any afterlife or gods. I don't see, and nor have you seen anybody come out of the grave and go, "Hey, the afterlife is real." Have you actually seen anybody fucking raised from the dead and tell you that you Christians were right and the atheists were wrong? We need to get our shit together and start believing. That's the bottom line of that's what a lot of Christians would like for us to do.
I understand. But
okay, so until someone raises from the dead and shakes my goddamn hand, I'm going to be a fucking atheist, okay? I'm trying to be polite about this, but Jesus Christ. I thought I made that rather plain. Whereas there's the possibility because we are actually...
Yo, ow. Yes. Yeah. Fighting and fussing and fighting.
No more fussing, no more fighting. Alright, guys.
Latch onto. You don't like research. Saying scientists that the planets or the universe. This is why you help on top of everything else. Logical to believe in any gods at all. That's just how I am. Because I don't believe like you do. I talked about because this one lady was not Christian like me, and I looked at her differently. And I was actually offended. So people like you reinforce my atheism, quite frankly. And it's not, and I'm not going to become an atheist.
But just listen to me. All I'm saying is, like, my spiritualism, like, I don't have any belief in anything.
Spiritualism is the same as religion.
I know. I can tell right away as soon as I come back.
Yes. Because you understand that when you're talking about supernatural versus paranormal, they're different things. You're measuring different things. You don't measure in inches. Well, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. You shouldn't measure in inches when you're measuring something that's miles long.
What were you measuring? Wait a minute. What were you measuring in inches? What exactly were you measuring in inches?
Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. I stepped into that one.
I had to ask.
I should have said that.
Now, why
I'm sorry
are you talking
for
about
losing my. I shouldn't have cursed.
No,
I
it's all
apologize.
good,
Is this
No,
a,
it's not.
is this a black white thing?
I shouldn't do
You
that.
know, is
I
this,
apologize.
you trashing the white
I just
man
want
now.
to say, like, I was never mad at you or nothing. Like, I was the first time when you got excited and I kind of got off the phone there. I digressed. was because you were so mad, right? But all I was bringing up is just that it's unknown. You
Oh,
know?
I wasn't mad before. I was mad here just a few seconds ago. But no, I wasn't mad before.
I like
Your
it when you're mad.
inconsistency, right? But it's all good, man.
And
Much
the
love.
best
You have a good
part
day.
is when I get Joe
Yeah,
says mad.
I don't want to. I want to leave in a good terms. I'm sorry I get all worked up. And actually, believe it or not, that's actually low key for me. Believe it or not. That's why I don't have any friends.
I dig it, man. You're
I
awesome.
I have a lot of acquaintances. But
you know, you remind
like I said, I
me
work by myself.
so
I
much,
stay by myself, except for my wife.
bro. You remind me of my brother. My older brother has the same beliefs, and he loves listening to you too. By the way,
Well, I appreciate that. I don't have a belief, but I appreciate that.
no,
But I
you're
get
like,
what you're. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So it's pretty cool talking to you. I like it. I feel like I'm talking to my brother.
I like it too, but I'm upset that I got upset. So I apologize.
No, you're good, man. You're all good. No, you're fine, man. Everybody loves you, man. We love your beliefs.
You know, much love to everybody
we
else.
need that.
I'm trying
We
to
need
work
that.
on being
You have
patient.
to have salt with the pepper. You have to have
Yes,
yin
that's
with
very
the
good.
yang.
That's true indeed.
You have to
Indeed.
have the mix, or that's what we all are. There's a little bit of this in me and a little bit of that in you.
You know what, Michael? I just noticed it's like 7 after 8 at Central Time,
I know.
in the United States. I didn't know how long we were going to go.
I know, you're awesome, buddy, and it was a great show. And
What's that?
it was an awesome, and thank you so much for sticking it
Yeah,
out
yeah,
with
sure.
us, man. You were amazing tonight.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Ronnie's there. And Ronnie,
I think he got
thanks
off.
for coming in, Ronnie, too.
I think he.
Awesome.
Yeah, you had great.
Are we still on?
He always
Are
has
we
great
still on the air?
stories.
Thank you.
We always have weird stories for you, so and you can use them in your books, dude.
Oh no! I would not do that because of the possibility of the risk of somebody coming back for legal purposes.
Oh, come on, that's just
I
between us,
no, I'm
man.
serious. I would never do that. That's as an author, I personally would never do
I
that.
don't care if you use
Because
my
of the
stories
risk of
for your
legal
books, for
repercussions.
inspiration for your books, because that's a real story. You can throw it into fiction, and then people can just think what they want, and there's nobody blamed for it. Right? It's fiction.
I
So-
say better safe than sorry. I don't want to be sued for millions and take the rest
between
of my
you
life
and me,
to pay
if you
for it.
use some of my stuff that I've seen, whatever I've talked about, and I have some pretty wild stories, I don't care if you use them.
Yeah,
Like-
we hate attorneys.
Because you're cool like that, Michael.
Yeah, you go ahead. Use it in your books. That's cool, man. He's got some great ideas in his books, guys. Yeah. I wouldn't have him on here. This gentleman is a
Thank you for saying that.
intellectual well, it just doesn't end. It's like, I don't know what to call you. Fountain of knowledge.
Just a science fiction author.
Yeah, but
That's
not
all I
just a fountain of knowledge, really. Yeah, and he stands his ground on his terms, and I really respect that.
Well, I'm sure you want me to be honest with you guys, and that's just me being honest, you know. And I'm not the only one, you know. It's Richard Dawkins and the Lincoln, the secular humanist organization that I was a part of. We went down to Kansas when he was back in 2006. He came out with his God Delusion book, and we got a chance to see him in Lawrence, Kansas. And you know, I think he's kind of quiet lately. I haven't heard much of him like I used to back then, but he was awesome to listen to, and you know, he kind of made fun of Kansas, but you know, because it's a very conservative state, and you know, he wasn't being insulting or anything. It was just funny. But he's an evolutionary biologist, and actually, he came here to Lincoln, Nebraska. He actually did an installment for the Morrill Hall, which is a museum of natural. Basically, it's kind of Lincoln, Nebraska's version of Museum of Natural History. And it was awesome meeting him, and I'm glad that we have one of his installation pieces on evolution here in Lincoln with the Morrill Hall.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, you got a lot of fans, man. Atheist fans all over are digging you, man.
Seriously? Remember, my laptop died, so I don't have my laptop. Actually, I'm sitting outside, so I don't even know responses. I have no idea what's going on with.
I'm sure there's a lot more going on than we know. It's like Twitter's going crazy, Spreaker's going crazy, the chat rooms, and yeah.
Well,
man.
thank you, everybody out there. I appreciate it. And again, I sincerely apologize. I think that was Ronnie I was talking to. I know it's a podcast. It's different from radio, but I still try to keep my anger in check. And I'm sorry, especially for cursing. I'll try to do better next time.
Well, if it's on the Saturday night show, that's groovy, man. But Sunday afternoon, and my apologies too, because I was trying to wake up and get past the hangover.
Well, we're used to Friday nights and Saturday nights.
Oh, I'm a nocturnal, dude. I got to go to work tonight.
Yeah, that's how are we still? We're still on the air, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't know what time you had to be at work, and I'm kind of want to make sure you're okay when you go in.
Well, I'm fine. I'm just watching the time. It's 9:15. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to go off the air.
I didn't know what time.
Get ready for work. But I'm hanging on because it's the weekend, and Wolfman's got to give to the people that's trying to listen to the Wolfman. So Wolfman gives.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure that Wolfman's taken care of too.
We're all right. We're good. Me and Sandra are fine. I'm looking after things. Don't worry.
Okay.
Fan contributions can help right now, though, because we are still trying to find a new place where we can go and set up a new studio. So anything, anyone that can help, go to monstercastleparanormal.com and go to the donate button if you can, because we are trying to set up a new studio, and we need funds to do it. We can't do it without you.
In Toronto or where you are now?
I'm in Guelph. I'm trying to do this,
What's that?
man. I'm in Guelph. It's near Toronto. Guelph. The Royal City.
Okay, what else would you guys like to talk about? Anything in the news, paranormal related?
What I was going to ask is if anyone did get any results from trying to get something back from the Syrian people. From what I said earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did anyone get any results back?
Right.
Because
anybody got any social media?
I could not get through. I could not get through. I'm serious. Everything I tried, I couldn't get anything through. No response.
You think it's blocked?
Definitely.
I'm curious as to who's in. I wouldn't be surprised if it were Assad's regime blocking, but I wonder if it's on our end too, with the current regime in the White House.
I don't know what's going on, but I can't get anything, anyone to answer me back from Twitter or anything. Every time I try doing it, my phone goes freaking freezing up. Mm-hmm. I got 4 computers around me, and I haven't tried on all the computers, but has anyone else tried? Mm-hmm. What are your results?
Well, even off air, we still can do it. We don't have to just do it while we're on air.
Let's try it right now.
Still do it even afterwards.
Oh man, somebody's got to have the results. Nobody has the results. Ronnie?
Like I said, listeners, I don't have my laptop. It crashed on me. I said that hours ago. I literally have 0 space on my laptop. I just put it in the basement. I'm not even going to recycle or throw it away because it has information.
Oh man.
I'd rather just hold on to it and incinerate it or something.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on down there? I'd like to ask you. What do you think's going on down there? These 59 missiles. Did they hit some like just barren target, or what did they do? Did they waste our money, or what did they do?
I know it cost $1 million. I read where it cost them. It was $1 million for all those rockets. That's what they cost. And I don't know. The Russians said that we didn't really hit that much, you know. And then I heard that we hit all the targets we aimed at except one. And but Russia says, you know, the runway's intact and there's a few old buildings got destroyed and stuff like that, and that we really didn't do much with them, you know. So who knows, you know. I think it's just Trump making a statement that he's a wild card and you better watch your ass because he's crazy enough to push
Pretty
the
much.
button.
Oh,
You know?
so he's gonna just go and throw like what is it, $180,000 or $180 million. I don't know. Like
Yeah, it's
just
$1 million.
on
$1 million.
oh, here you go. Well, they're probably these cruise missiles had to be used up. They got to use them up, right? Because
that could have been true. They could have just been looking for someplace.
yeah, because they got to get used up because the they're gonna the date where they got to go bad, right? It has to be an expiry date.
But you know, Russia's saying that
I'm
he
thinking
didn't use
expiry
gas
date.
on his own
Expiry
people,
date
that
on
the
the
gas was
expiry date
accidentally
on the
closed.
missiles. The expiry date on the missiles is what actually made this happen because we got to use them somewhere.
Yeah, and that way we can spend $1 million. Well, they said the new ones are going to cost more than $1 million to replace them because the price went up.
Exactly.
Wow.
Somebody's going to make some money here.
Well,
They said even the stocks.
Otherwise,
the stocks
it's
went-
you know,
companies that make
why did you make these missiles? So we got to cut down the amount of missiles we're making, right? Because it doesn't make sense to make all these missiles that don't get used.
Yeah. The company. Yeah, it's kind of funny. The company that makes the missiles, the stocks jumped because they knew they were going to have to replace the missiles at a higher cost than they cost to make them. So
Now we're getting into it.
new
Yeah.
upgraded version missiles. Now they're talking about the ships are going to Korea. They're headed towards North Korea. You know, and you better not mess with that little man in North Korea. You know, he will push the button, man, the big button.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm like, you better leave that guy alone, man.
Man, that guy is a crazy motherfucker. He's worse than Igor. Damn. He's worse than Darth Vader. He is worse. Oh yeah. Who do we got with us still?
What's that?
Joe Sather. He's still here?
Yes, I am indeed.
Ow, baby. This is the Wolfman. 9:20. I'm gonna dig out here at 9:30. So it's in 10 minutes, and I have to shut down.
Yeah, you still got to go to work.
Yep.
You got to leave work to go to work.
That's all right. It'll still give me an hour to get ready. What was that? Who did that?
I walked by the dryer.
Oh my
The
lord!
dryer's like spinning.
I thought that was you, Wolfman.
I didn't do
It
that.
was like, wow. I was like, wow. That
That
thing
was
is
cool,
really
man. It was
fun.
good. It was a
Yeah,
good drop.
yeah.
man.
Remember our Friday the 13th special? It's like maybe this is real this time.
Oh man, no, but we had it happen. He had it happen. Ronnie had it happen to him. Yeah,
Oh,
for
really?
real. Yeah, he did.
You know what pisses me off, Mike, is the fact that somebody had to have seen that on the radar. You know, there's 3 radar towers. There's one 58 miles, one 68 miles, and there's a 600-mile radar 132 miles away, and yet nobody said about anything about seeing a half-mile UFO.
Yeah, no shit. And
like-
these creatures that came in
Now,
your house.
How are we ever going to prove UFOs exist if we can't even get the people in the radar towers to come on the news and say, man, we saw something weird
Yeah,
last night
there's
on the
been a
radar."
few of them that have come forward and said, yes, there was weird
Did anybody
things.
see anything? Because we saw something on the radar last night, very big. You know, if
Okay,
they would
yeah.
have just came
I
forth
heard
to the
on
news, I could
documentary
have brought my
that, I
pictures
guess,
out and said,
the-
look, I
the-
was there and saw it.
The people
Okay.
in the radar, the people in the radar control, what do you call it, control room, they can lose their jobs if they say that.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
You know anything about UFOs, that's what I
people like
saw on
Ronnie can lose
documentary
his
once.
job. He works in the petroleum industry, so
Yeah.
he's a UFO abductee, and he can lose his job too if he says too much. Right on here with me right now, and that's why he's being really cool. Actually, coming on, very brave gentleman.
Yeah. Do you think it's because is it more of a perception thing that they want to be taken serious, or they want it to be hush hush because they think it's real? What do you guys think?
I think the damn ET are probably running the damn show. You ever see the John Carpenter movie, The Thing? I think that some of the people in our higher government aren't who they claim to be, and that we need to do a blood test on them.
I
Well, wouldn't
agree.
hurt.
I totally agree with Ronnie, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you have a problem with the DNA of a humanoid that's in your political structure, I think that as citizens, you deserve to have a blood test done on that humanoid.
Yeah, I think if you work at the government, you should be required to have a genetic blood test and make sure you are who you say you are.
And you're actually human.
Right.
I know this is fiction, but still, we can learn from fiction. If you ever seen any of the movies of the Marvel, the comics, the X-Men, where they had registered for like metahumans or I forgot what they call, because DC has their word for it. Marvel comics and their movies, they have a word for it, but they have like what's basically a register, like what happens in reality, and that's part of the Professor X versus Magneto. There would be a lot of people who would have trouble with us having basically a register to see if you're human or not. Even if it were true about people looking for ETs, trust me, I think a good model, and yes, it's fiction, but we can still learn from it. If you haven't seen it, guys, check out. I'm serious about this. Check out the Marvel movies of the X-Men about the registering of the mutants. Is what they call it, mutants in Marvel, and in DC they call them metahumans, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's
because
right.
basically you would be doing the same thing what happened in World War II with the Japanese.
Yeah, but
And
this
so
is what
even if
we
the ETs
do.
were to
No,
exist-
these kids are looking at this stuff like superheroes, like they're amazing superheroes, but everyone can do this stuff. We all can do it. You can do that. You just have to imagine it in your mind, realize it in your mind, meditate, and become it. And you can do it. You can do these things yourself.
like
Everyone
10%
is
of our
capable
brain?
of. It's not. You are the superhero. You are the superhero.
Our
Well,
brain is like a
that's what I
computer.
got
We
from,
hadn't even figured out how to
I
turn
just-
it on yet.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to say that's why I love the superhero. I collect vintage superhero comic books too, both Marvel and DC, and Charlton comic books too as well. I have basically a library of vintage comics, Star Wars to superheroes.
Yeah,
But that's what I love
I've
about it, because
studied
because back then.
You know what? I've tried to do the moves of almost every superhero. I love it. But you are the superhero. Each and every one of us. You are the superhero. And you can be that, right?
You can aspire to certain features of pushing oneself to be a speed reader, for instance. Instead of maybe having the superpower of speed, you can try to be a speed reader or speed at work when you're bored at work and you're doing dishes and you challenge yourself to do faster. Or maybe memory, maybe that's someone's superpower. What we can glean from these new godlike stories that we tell each other. It's just kind of like in Ancient Aliens. They had a special about superheroes on the History Channel, and it's so it's so awesome how they connect how in ancient times, similar to like what we talked about in regards to astrology, how it was the precursor to astronomy, because that's what our ancestors could interpret at the time. Well, the gods of of Egypt and other ancient civilizations, maybe thousands of years, if we don't bomb ourselves to death as a species and our planet, maybe thousands of years or 1,000 or a few hundred years in the future, people will run across these weird, colorful books called comic books, and these, it's like, oh, maybe these are some kind of gods. And if language is lost in the future, perhaps they will see that as, Captain America being some kind of god, and because of the way that we told the tales, and as well as Superman, Batman, and all these others. And I think basically what we see right now with the superhero movement, if you will, I think it's like real time of the creation of the notion, as an atheist I'm speaking, the notion of gods, the belief in gods, the storytelling of gods. What we are doing with our superhero motif, both in literature as well as movies, I think basically that's maybe some of what our ancient ancestors did. Perhaps what we see in ancient Egypt, or we see in the European continent, some of the tales there as well, the Middle East, all in Asia, all of them, Africa. Maybe they were just simply entertainment at first, and maybe some truth to them, and it just kind of took on, just kind of got gruesome legs, and the stories just evolved to be what we call gods today. Maybe that's what the superhero movement of today, this zeitgeist, using that word, maybe this zeitgeist of superheroes, maybe that's what's going on with us in modern time. It's just the 21st century version of
Ronnie.
Tutankhamun.
Ronnie, have you ever been able to manipulate reality with your thoughts?
I've tried, and I haven't had any luck, because I know some of these guys that encounter these UFOs and stuff like that. They, I talked to one guy, man, he got photographic memory after they came into his bedroom. And I'm like, man, where's mine? I haven't got anything, man, from being in contact with these guys. They hadn't fixed anything, but, I had a guy tell me if I actually had aliens in my house, that I would suffer like infections and stuff like that. And when he told me that, he goes, because I said, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, you would have some kind of infections like, and almost die from them. And there for a while, I had these real bad staph infections, and they sent the test off, and the doctor treated it like staph, and he used some of the most powerful antibiotics out there. And he said, if this one don't work, I'm gonna have to go to the CDC in Dallas and have a antibiotic built. And this was just happening, in my house, and I was like, crap, I thought, holy shit, that's probably from having aliens in my house, And it tested negative for staph. Every test they sent in, negative for staph.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interject. I was just saying the CDC is in Atlanta, actually. Unless they have an office in Dallas that I don't know about.
They have a CDC, and they can build antibiotics. I had one friend that actually went over there, and they could use a certain antibiotics out here in public, and then once that one don't work, they can send you over there and they develop one for you. And I was close to getting to go to that thing.
Hearing what you're saying right there, it makes me think about, and I read about this and also saw it on TV as well. Hawkins, Stephen Hawkins, the scientist, English scientist, a few years ago, he came out and said he kind of wrote a piece about it, and he's also been on TV, kind of spreading word about it. It's been a few years now. I think more people are starting to actually listen to Stephen Hawking about this. Stephen Hawking basically is, and it ties in actually with my most recent novel, paperback, Visitor's Arrival, Amazon.com. He's basically warning us, is like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be so anxious to try to get aliens to come to our system, because, you know, what if it's like the Europeans and the Native Americans, only we're the Native Americans? What if, usually what happens in such a...
Yeah, I'm like the first Native American that saw a wagon train and went back to the tribal council and tried to tell them, and everybody laughed at him. It's crazy.
Is there? There's an unknown number calling. Hello, are you there? Unknown number?
Yeah. What do y'all think about space niggers from outer space?
What? I didn't get that one. Okay, forget that.
Is that Willie?
No, I don't know what that was.
That was Willie.
I don't know. We're going to end that. It's just you and me now, Ronnie.
Are we still on?
Yeah, just you and me, Ronnie.
All right.
Well, I had to mute that, whatever that was. I'm not going to listen to that, you know.
Because I've heard that before.
I ain't going to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Hate that.
But I had these like heat bumps, and then they just got more infected, and I went to the doctor, and he gave me some antibiotics, and then it just kept getting more infected and more infected. I ended up having to go up there, and they lanced the thing open, and they were sticking these scissors all the way to the handles up inside me, cutting pus pockets up.
Oh my God! I gotta go get my dog.
You don't want to have to go. I would not want to have to go through that again. And I ended up bleaching my whole house. It's like, and it was, it's very possible that it was because of the bacteria that those damn things put in my house when they were running around. Something that our body's not used to. And they said that's the kind of stuff that would happen if you were actually made contact with an alien. You would get that kind of stuff. But I know they sent samples off. So they're building an antibiotic out there somewhere for that type of infection. Because they said that's what they do. Once they find a new infection, they use that infection to build an antibiotic for it.
Wow. That's kind of like almost like the what do they call it? X-Files shit with that thing. You know what I mean?
But they said that's exactly the kind of stuff that you would have happen to you if you had aliens in your house.
Okay. Now you work for the oil company, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is nuts. And you got Indians popping holes in your pipes when you're trying to do your work, right?
Yeah, that was... And it's crazy.
That is crazy.
They call themselves water protectors, and then they cut holes in the lines. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, that's a strange way to protect water.
I know. That's nuts, man.
It's like you're trying to get it. And the fact is, they never should have had to go over there under that anyway. You know, and because the original course of the pipeline was the safest route. And they denied on access to the safest route, so they had to go with a plan B, an alternate route, which required them to drill under a lake. And if you're, and that's the way our society is now, man. We shoot ourselves in the foot.
Why do you think do you really think we need petroleum, though? You in your heart, do you think we really need that?
Oh, yeah, Mike. Once you have to realize that everything. Even if we didn't need gasoline anymore, we still need petroleum. Your rubber tires, the insulation on your wires for your power lines, the plastics that we use, the asphalt for the highways, it's even an oil byproduct that the farmers spray on their fields to make crops grow. Insecticides that keep the insects from eating our crops up. It's all petroleum based.
I know that. I'm a farmer.
And so,
I know that.
Yeah.
Did I accidentally hang up on you guys, or
No. Who's there?
this is Joseph?
Joseph. All right. Okay. Yeah. The Skype drop.
Oh, sorry.
So.
But we do. Yeah, I'm saying as an environmental activist, and when I said I went to D.C. one time in the Capitol because it was dealing with the Yucca Mountain situation back in 2002. I was a delegate for what's called Nebraskans for Peace, out from Lincoln, Nebraska. And me and 3 other people from Nebraska, we lobbied our senators against the Yucca Mountain, which is about taking spent nuclear fuel, 77,000 tons of it, and they wanted to transport all that into a depository just outside of Las Vegas, not far from Las Vegas. Well, we lobbied against that, and it kind of worked. It just kind of got gummed up in the system, so it never passed, and it didn't necessarily fail. So as environmental action.
Hey, you guys! I got an idea.
Wean off of this
Okay,
stuff.
listen to me. I might leave you on live, and it'll end in 1 hour and 23. So if I gotta go to work and I just leave, I'm gonna leave you guys on live, okay? On this, it'll just keep going, okay?
So we're gonna be.
And you will be
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
We are running the show.
So it'll be Ronnie and Joseph running the show. That's it.
Okay.
If you want to do it.
That's fine. I mean, I don't know. Is it Ronnie? Is it?
Okay.
Cuss word?
It'll be the Ronnie and Joseph's show. I'll rename it tomorrow.
I can deal with that.
Okay. If you guys want to keep going and you keep going, I'll just turn my microphone off and I'll get ready for work. You still have an hour and a half together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that what I have a clock in front of me. What time would that be? East. I'm an hour behind you.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have enough battery
I'm
on
like
my phone to do
9:30.
that.
I'm 9:30 Eastern Standard Time right here.
I
9:38.
plug my phone in. I'm off today. If you want me to, I can do it.
Okay.
I mean, I can. I'd be kind of. I mean, it'd be nice if people called in or something if you wanted to, because I don't really have access.
I can't
Any
pick up the
guests,
phone
unless
calls
you want
once I
impromptu
leave.
guests,
Once I
someone
leave,
calls
I
in.
can't pick up the phone calls. So anyone who wants to get in on it, get in on it now, and I can add you. I can add you right now, and then I gotta go.
If not, because Ronnie.
So
sounds
that's
like he can't do it, so- 775-990-8447. 775-990-8447. If you want to join in with Ronnie and Joseph. And then I gotta go. When you guys still have an Okay.
hour and a half, you can go.
So Ronnie, how long can you last? How long can you go?
What time is it? I don't have
Well,
access to
my
the clock.
time here in Central Time, and it's 8:40. 8:45.
Yeah, I could do it. I think.
So
I'm
that'd
gonna
be
plug my
so
phone
that'd
in
be
here.
until 10 o'clock Central Time. Is that right?
Yeah, Central. That's what I am too. So
Oh, you are. I'm calling from Lincoln, Nebraska. Where are you calling from?
Ranger, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Central. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're just south. Okay.
That's groovy,
so are
man.
we doing this then?
That'd be groovy. I'll just leave it running.
Okay.
I'll just leave it
Yeah, I
running. It'll shut
I
off
used to
by
live in
itself.
Elkhart, Kansas, up there. So I'm pretty close to your country up there. I think my phone.
It'll
Are you
actually
there?
shut off by itself. That'd be
I
so
plugged my
groovy.
phone in. My phone's plugged in. I'm using it like a landline.
Okay, I got mine in. Mine's plugged in now. So
Okay. So we just keep going until 10 o'clock Central.
It'll keep going for like it's an hour and 20 minutes, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we just like do kind of like a identification just on our own every now and then.
Oh, you can do whatever you
Hello,
want.
Papa.
This is my own Spreaker thing. So
Oh, okay. So Spreaker. So this is not.
this is
Paranormal
not.
or
Yeah,
Castle.
but they may play it on the network on KTLK, thefringe.fm. Yes, they may play it on there. Yes, so we still need to.
the friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Fringe and Monster Castle.
MonsterCastleParanormal.com. And you can also go to our YouTube, our Twitter, go to our website, MonsterCastleParanormal.com, go to our Facebook and Twitter, and like us there. Most importantly, like us on Spreaker.com, because then you'll get an automatic email telling you when we go live.
Okay. Well, everyone, you heard that.
Yeah, it's groovy. Yeah, that's the best way to know. You get the Spreaker app, it's Spreaker podcast app on your phone, and you can get that on your iPhone or your Android. And it is groovy, man. So what you do is just get the Spreaker podcast app on your phone, and then like us or favorite us, Monster Castle Paranormal on Spreaker, and you'll find us there,
Okay.
and you'll get
Chat
you
button,
will
you
get
can join the chat.
automatic from it's so groovy. You'll get automatic email every time we go live.
Auto email. Okay.
Yeah,
listeners,
man.
I hope you're hearing this.
No, you got to spread that out, man. You got to spread that out. It's hard
Okay,
for me
yeah.
to advertise that. It's very hard to advertise
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we can do that, and so that way you can get maybe even take a little nap, maybe if you need to.
that. Oh, I got to go to work.
Okay.
I got to go to work,
I
buddy.
hope to. I'll
I'm gonna
check
leave.
on you
I'm gonna
later,
leave
if you don't mind, to make
I'm
sure
gonna
you're
leave the
okay.
feed on, and I'm gonna
I'm
let you
tired,
guys
man.
take the show. And Ronnie, you have the helm. Okay,
Okay, Ronnie.
Ronnie, you got
yours,
the.
right?
You are the man right now.
Okay.
I'm following your lead.
Okay.
Ronnie.
So.
We'll make you proud.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ronnie.
Make you proud.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Good night, guys.
Okay. Good night. Talk to you behind the scenes later. Get some sleep.
All right, Mike, you
please.
go to work, man.
And thank you. Well, Ronnie, I'm following your lead. So what's anything else you found interesting out there? You
Actually,
wanna
I
talk
have
about
an
a couple
unknown
items?
caller. Let me take it. Let me take the unknown caller first.
Niggers! Niggers, 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 niggers,
Uh-oh.
niggers!
No, that's not a good call.
Who is that guy? Who is that guy?
I don't know, but it should have been bleeped out. I didn't know what that was. I could have done it off. Man, that guy sucked. Oh, he sucked so bad. Joseph?
Yes.
No. We had a bad unknown caller.
You had a what?
A very bad unknown caller. Nasty man.
Ooh.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
nasty.
He calls from time to time.
In what way?
I don't think it was Willie. No, that was not Willie. That was somebody worse. Willie wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
What? Was it racially motivated?
It was racially motivated, definitely. I'm
Okay,
pissed right off. This is disgusting.
Well,
Right.
I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not scared.
You know what?
think
Whoever it
far worse
is
people-
getting one of these. All right. We gotta give him one. Now I'm mad. Damn it. Why you gotta make me mad? Damn it.
So what's
Son of a
happening in
bitch is
Lincoln,
gonna
Nebraska?
get it. Die, you Yeah. Pig. Die. Sorry.
Now, I appreciate your sentiments. Thank you. Well, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, when I get that kind of thing crossed my path, that's the way that's what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be my reaction, Pig, you fucking die. Sorry, you're an ignorant pig. You should die. Sorry.
Well, trust me, as growing up in Lincoln, Nebraska, I'm used to dealing with racists. I've even been beaten up by one when I was still a pacifist at the time. That was my mistake. But, that's since then, let's say I've revolved on the issue of pacifism and I discarded such ideals. Let's just put it that way.
Every race has different things happening,
Yeah.
I think the notion of pacifism is silly because you're going to sit there and plead that your enemies give you your human rights and your civil rights,
my God.
And you let them. I'm sorry. I think it's a ridiculous notion to be pacifist, quite frankly. But I respect it. I respect it.
I like to get
it's just I don't see when it's basically unilateral disarmament. It's the way I see it. And I am not a pacifist. Trust me. I believe that there are times for armed when you have to protect yourself. And if it's a bigger level, then you have to protect yours. But no, don't make the mistake that because I'm a geek and I'm laughing. As you heard tonight, I have, like I said, I wasn't joking. I have quite the temper, and I have the philosophy to go with it. Now, with that said,
that's Joe. Okay, I'm trying to get Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go to work, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Joe on here.
Oh,
I just thought of something. Okay, I didn't know who that was. But answering this call will put my other call on hold, so I'm trying to add it in, but I can't.
You gotta call off soon. It's 10-2.
I'll just go in.
No, you can't.
What?
No, I don't want you to.
Could be Willie.
Joe, wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out this. What the hell? Joe. Oh, man. Gotta find something here. And what am I doing? Now I'm getting... Okay, Joe. What was I doing? Okay, I can't get him on. Damn it. Alright, wait a minute. Hello, are you on? Monster Cats Player Normal. Are you on the air? You are on the air. Hello? Is there somebody there? Ronnie, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
and I'm still
that's
here.
weird, man. I'm answering this call and there's nothing.
Hello?
Hello?
How you doing?
Okay, who is it?
It's Joe.
Alright, that's weird. I just said Joe.
Yeah, well, you hung up on me last time. I had to call back.
Alright.
So
I'm sorry.
why don't you add me through Skype to the call.
That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, Joe, I get. That's who I'm at. I'm trying to add you, man.
Through Skype.
Yeah.
Angry Bong.
Okay. What do I type in?
Here, I'll message you right now so you can find me. What account do you want me to message? Wolfman or the MCPR47?
I got you. Joe. I got you, buddy. I just added you in on Ronnie line.
Okay.
You got it?
I got it, brother.
All right, groovy.
Right.
Yeah, we needed you, man.
Yeah.
The more the better.
So, from what I heard, you guys are having a bit of a dispute over religion.
Hello?
That was earlier. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is Ronnie, did you real quick want to, in case someone people need reminding what we're talking about and stuff, Ronnie, because you're in control of this, Ronnie. I'm just here with you until.
No.
Oh, I'm in control. That's a dangerous thing.
Really?
I would drive that car right off a cliff. Now, yeah, we were talking. Yeah, we were talking some deep religious stuff there earlier, but he's not on anymore. It's just us now.
Yeah, we're kind of filling in for. He had to go to work actually.
Yeah.
So, what were you talking about before I interrupted?
No, you didn't interrupt at all. Actually, we were kind of hoping for calls. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, Ronnie, you mind if I interject, Ronnie?
No, go ahead.
Okay, no, just actually, with Wolfman Michael, I was the guest from the first, his show, and then after that ended, we just kind of, officially ended. We went on, I guess, Spreaker is what we're on mostly, and also I guess Paranormal Castle Radio on Twitter and whatnot. But we're just kind of continuing on, and we're filling in for Michael so he can go to work. He had changes in his work schedule fairly recently. Yeah. So we're just kind of filling in for him right now. And one of the things that kind of was a carryover from when I was officially the guest. They're not
going to make all of us
with the show. One of the things we were talking about was religion, and because I'm an atheist. But we also talked about paranormal things like UFOs and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gist of what we were talking about.
Yeah. So you're the same guy that was on earlier, right?
No, not me. This is the first time I called today.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name's Joe, but I go by the Angry Bong.
The Angry Bot?
Bong, B-O-N-G.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, welcome to what's on your mind?
No, I just called in to join the conversation because when I was listening, it was sounding pretty heated. It sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I apologize. I had already apologized for that earlier, and oh God, I'm sorry. I try to do a better job of that, but yeah, over the years, I've been a lecturer or presenter. I was a co-founder of this organization called the Lincoln Secular Humanists here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was just one. There are other people, younger people than me, that they did such a good job of really first starting it, and I just kind of joined them and helped out and stuff. But anyway, I was talking about my atheism and but other things too. We were also talking about I'm a science fiction author. I have a few paperbacks published, and we talked about that but the heated argument, and we both apologized to each other. I think I forgot the name of the guy. I wish I remember his name. But anyway, and then we both were like, hey, let's just peace out. And so we made our peace with each other. And it's maybe it's just misunderstanding, something like that. For me, it's almost like I encounter this a lot with some of my lectures at a regional university here in town. I've been doing it for about 10 years now with an organization, then on my own. And also just personally, it seems like I run into people who they just can't deal with the fact that atheists exist. I've had it several times, Ronnie and caller, Angry Bone. I've had it several times where people they would tell me, they had the galls to tell me, oh, you're not an atheist. And it's like, really? So you're, and I, I blow up at them, frankly, as in, raising my voice, and nothing physical. I've never gotten a single fight in my life, but I believe in self-defense. And people have actually told me I'm not an atheist. There's this fellow African American.
I'm not against atheists or agnostics. It's just I don't understand why they believe in the flat Earth.
Well, you mean people who believe in flat Earth?
Yeah, like the atheist and the agnostics. Flat Earth.
No. Atheist, that has nothing to do with atheism or agnosticism. You said flat Earth. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No, that's a totally different. No. Actually, if anything, I mean, it's the atheists tend to be secular humanists, which is not kind of the same thing, but that's a long story there. It's basically belief in the separation of church and state. And here in the United States, I'm not sure where you, if you're calling from Canada or United States or where you're calling from, but there's a separation clause, or excuse me, the establishment clause, separation of church and state. But anyway, just a bad accident happened accident happened not far from my house. Anyway, they're okay. I believe separation of church and state. It is constitutional in the United States. We tend to believe in the scientific method. You can Google that real quick. Check it out, see what that means. And so atheists and secular humanists in general, I can't see them believing in the Earth being flat. That's because we believe in science, and if it's something that we can't prove, we don't believe in it. That's it in a nutshell of secular humans. So
I
flat
agree,
Earth has nothing to do with atheism.
Is it part of the scientific method observation?
Could you say that again, please?
Is it part of the scientific method observation?
That's one. Yes, absolutely. But also where one is I shouldn't say one. Where it can be reproduced.
When I observe
if it's some kind of experiment,
horizon,
someone else needs to be able to verify the findings. So it's not. So otherwise, it's just Joe Blow saying,
"Hey." But I got a question.
Well, I'm
part
trying to
of
answer
the
your
scientific
question,
method is observation, and to do something. If you could do something, and under the same circumstances, time and time again, and get the same result, it becomes scientific fact. So if I go stand in the same spot,
basically, yes.
If I go stand in the same spot every day and look at the horizon, no matter how many days I go, the horizon will always look flat. So by the scientific method, that thereby means the Earth is flat. It's scientific fact.
Have you ever flown in a plane, sir?
Yeah.
When you look out the window, and I've flown several times, there is no special effects involved. You actually see the curvature of the Earth. And that's in addition to satellites that we have that's taking pictures. The reason why I didn't want to go into satellites
the way that airplane glass is made in its thickness because of the air pressure and the curvature. Oh, excuse me, just 1 second.
Yeah, and from the altitude up there, the planes, from what they were telling me is that they do not fly straight from point A to point B. There is a slight northward projection to save mileage from point A to point B. I've heard that it's not exactly a straight line, but I think some of the strongest facts that the Earth isn't flat. And those guys have some good arguments, because I've listened to some of their stuff, and man, they do have some good arguments that have made me double think some things, But we've got people. There's several people now that have went across the Antarctic. I mean, they walked all the way across it, you know, and from sea to sea, you know, and so that, you know, that's
402-601-8.
And there's ships that have sailed all the way around it. So, you know, I don't know.
I'm trying to take a
I don't know what
Can you guys hear me?
I don't know what they would say.
Yeah.
but yes,
Who is this?
I'm sorry, this is Joseph. My
Oh,
call,
okay.
I don't know what
All right.
happened.
All right. I got
Go ahead.
you
I didn't
back.
mean to interrupt you guys. My call just
I got you
dropped right
back.
in.
I got you back.
Keep calling me back on my phone there, Wolfman. I'm on the Skype call now.
I'm glad I got him back. So before I got to go to work, I got to leave you guys.
Oh, I thought you left.
No, I noticed that there was something wrong on the Skype, so I got Joseph back just in time.
Oh my God.
It was my intuition.
Okay, I really feel guilty. I mean, but I mean, you can stay. I mean, this is your show, man. You just sound really
No,
tired.
I got you back out of my intuition. I was just about to leave, and something told me to look back, and I noticed that you had dropped, and I got you back on.
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
I don't know how I
There's
knew that, but I just knew
some
it.
cars bumped into each other here. We live in a very busy intersection, but they're okay.
I don't believe in a flat Earth. I believe that the Earth is shaped like a Pringles can.
Are you being for real, or are you making a point? You seriously believe that?
Well, that explains why the magnetic poles work the way they do. Right? Go get a round magnet, see if you can get the magnetic poles to work the way they say they do in the diagram.
Well,
and then go get a cylinder-shaped
that's
egg.
because it's because of the Earth's core. That's because of the Earth's core. It's relatively fluid, and because of all the magnetic, you know, it's huge. You know, it's much bigger than the Earth's crust. Because of all that hot molten within the Earth, that's what causes, and the Earth's spinning. So that's what causes the magnetic, you know, amongst some other things. So that's what that's about. The Earth is round, everybody. We have satellite images, plenty of them. And now these days, I've noticed that NASA does a good job, and probably other space agencies too. And I'm glad they do this. They actually sometimes they show you the launch on with the cameras on the rocket itself, and you can see it watches the whole time it's broadcasting the rocket as it's going out. It launches and it goes out to the atmosphere, and there's no cut in the footage. And then you can see how the Earth curves. And I say that because if I say something about satellites and some scientific, people just don't even want to pay attention to science because it doesn't tell them what they want to hear. So that's why I try to use plane flights as an anecdote, because most people have flown in planes, and you can unquestionably see that the Earth curves.
Yeah, but again, that's like because of the thickness of the glass they use in airplane windows.
That has nothing to do with this, sir.
Yeah, that's the way it's designed.
It's
It's thicker and it acts like a funhouse mirror.
Well, I'm not gonna agree with you with something that I know is not scientifically, as well as anecdotally speaking. I know it's not flat, but I mean, I'm not gonna stop you from believing because you know that's just not reality, sir.
Well, I think again, I don't understand how you can't see that. That if you go up, like have you ever been up so high that you weren't looking through an airplane window to see that it's not that way?
Well,
so the only time you've ever been at elevation like that is looking out
here's another thing. When you
an
get
airplane
closer,
window.
That would be
were you ever looking out the pilot's window, or were you just looking out the little side windows?
When the plane lands, how come the Earth doesn't curve then? It looks flat because the closer you are to the surface of a round object, the flatter it looks. Because in relation, since one is small, you know, presumably a planet, it looks flat. Because the Earth doesn't look like it's curving when you're looking out the window, while the plane is still on the taxi ground. Because I'm about to fly in just a few days to Orlando for the Star Wars convention, and I've flown several times throughout the United States. And trust me, the Earth only curves when you're high enough because you're far enough away from the surface and you see the curvature. That's just anecdotal. I did that on purpose once again because I know I understand the argument.
Yeah, but
that a
that's
lot
only
of
when you go north to
people have.
south because it's shaped like a Pringles can. It's not that wide that way. But if you go east to west,
we're going
it's like,
circular. I vote. Ronnie, what's your take on this, Ronnie?
You know, I've listened to their arguments and stuff, and I watched some stuff the other day where they seen a balloon up 100,000 feet right to the edge of space, and it does look, you know, I don't know, it looks pretty dead flat from up there, man. It's like you couldn't really see the curvature of it. But then again, I've lived in eastern Kansas, and on a clear day, you could see the Rockies. You could see the top of the mountains, but you couldn't see the whole mountain, you know? So, you know, and I also, you know, living in Wyoming, I've noticed that you can't see the mountain, and you keep heading west, and you'll go over a hill, and it almost looks like you're going down, but yet the mountains are actually taller, and there's snow on them, you know? So to me, that seems like it's round, you know? You know, and I believe it's round. But then again, you know, I got to open enough mind. I'm listening to what these guys are saying, and you know, I'm having to weigh that against what I've seen and know, you know.
the reason you can't see the Rockies like that
Yeah.
is that they reflect on the flat ground in front of them. It makes like an optical illusion where you can only see part of them.
Well, are you with the flat Earth? There's some kind of there was a guest that Michael had, Wolfman Mike, had, and he was some kind of organization that believed that Earth is flat. Are you the same guest?
No.
Are
I'm
you
just the guy
affiliated
that
with them by
observes
chance,
things.
sir?
Yeah, you know, there's
affiliated
more and
with
more
them?
people go, you know, falling into that. You know, I believe the Earth is round, but I'm not as sure of it as I was, because
I'm
a lot of what those
1,000%
guys are
sure.
saying makes sense. You know, it makes
So-
sense.
so
The
let me ask
reason
you
they
this-
want
let me
us to
ask you
think
both-
the Earth is round is because they don't want us to know how easy it is to actually travel around the Earth and how easy we could get from place to place if we really wanted to. They want us to believe
do you-
everything's really far apart, when in fact everything's really close together. It's all
So
part
do
of the
you
plan,
guys-
man. It's all part of the
Do
plan.
you guys subscribe to the notion of science at all? Or is it just because what you see?
Well, as I said, if I go stand in the same spot every day and look at the horizon, it always looks flat. So, you know, by the process of observation and through the process of trial and
Have
error,
you ever seen
that
have you ever
tells
seen
me that
mirages?
it's flat.
Have you ever seen mirages where it looks like there's water suspended in the air, or maybe you haven't seen it? That's more of an arid. I don't know where you're calling from. That's more of an arid location of places on Earth. So maybe that's not the best example to use because a lot of people haven't experienced. I'm not sure if I've seen mirage, to be honest with you. But what's different between, like, for instance, and I'll use this as an example. About an hour ago, or probably an hour and a half now, we were talking about being able to see things. It's whether or not you believe just because you see it. It's not just because you see it. It's what's measurable. We don't see atoms with our naked eyes, but the electronic microscope that came out decades ago, that's what helped revolutionize, because we're able to see atoms. We're actually able to see, if not the very effects of them, because you can see, like IBM. I forgot the story behind this, but if you Google IBM atoms and like scan something like that, you can see where scientists, and I forgot exactly who it was. Maybe it was IBM, but they took individual atoms and lined them up to spell IBM. But we're able to see it because of the electronic microscope, and probably some newer version of it, I'm guessing, today. We can't see atoms with our naked eyes, but it's still, you're able to see it with the electronic microscope, so therefore it's still measurable. And we see the effects every day. So now that's very different from spirituality, where it's something you believe. You don't see spirits or ghosts or whatever, And people say, well, you don't see atoms, but we're able to take electronic
Yeah,
microscope.
well, the only reason
we're
that
able
we
to
got
see
to
it.
see
So
atoms
that's
was
apples to
because
forget about apples
the
and
Nazis
oranges.
were winning
That's
World War
apples
II,
and
God
wrenches.
give atoms to the Americans so they could defeat the Axis. Like, so we didn't have a use for atoms before that, so God had never shown them to us before. But once we had a need for them, you know, when there's a need, God will provide. So I don't know what you're talking about.
What religion are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Baptist.
Okay. Well, I was raised Pentecostal, so I wasn't always an atheist. So Pentecostal are pretty close to Baptist for the most part. Do you believe that baptism is essential for your salvation?
Yes, it's essential, yeah.
What about those Christians who say, and most of the Christians I run into, by the way, sir, most Christians say you do not have to be baptized to, as they see it, to make it to heaven. I've noticed a shift. I'm old enough now to see the difference. Most Christians, and some fairly conservative, they do not believe that baptism is essential for salvation. There's an incongruency there amongst Christianity.
but
you can't both be right, right?
They don't have to believe that they're not going to go to heaven. So, you know, they can believe what they want. Are you still with us? Are
you still there?
Yeah, I'm
Hello?
still here, but I'm just saying
because you were trying to break
free
it
to
up
believe what you want. I'm not trying to
make
make anybody believe or come to my Baptist church. I'm just saying that, you know, if you don't, you're just going to go. You're not going to go to heaven. So that's up to you.
So what do you? Can I ask you this?
I'm going to heaven.
What do you say to your Christian brothers and sisters who are Christian just like you, and their faith is just as strong as yours, but they don't believe that you have to be baptized to go to heaven? And I'm telling from anecdote, from practical experience.
Yeah, but okay. I hear what you're saying, but if you want to go from Los Angeles to New York, and you get halfway there, and the road says you got to turn left, and you say, "Well, I want to go to New York, but I'm going to turn, I'm going to turn right." You're not going to go to New York. You're going to go wherever right takes you.
I get your analogy,
but
but
people can do whatever they want. If they don't get baptized, they're not going to heaven.
It's a fair question to ask, especially when you bring things up like this to me. And I'm just asking, what do you personally feel? Because all the Christians I'm running into, I'd say like 90% of them, maybe at least, say that baptism is not essential. I'm talking about Methodists. I'm talking about Episcopalians, and I forgot the other denominations who I talked to. But these are Christians, true and tried Christians, and most of them are saying baptism is not essential. So there's a disconnect within the Christian community about baptism.
I've already answered you. I've already answered.
Well, I mean,
I can't help that those people are lost.
I'll drop it then.
I can't help that those people have been taught wrong, right? You know, I'm not
mind you, from their perspective, they think you're wrong.
To go after them.
From their perspective,
I
they
just
think
know
you're wrong.
that my Baptist religion is going to allow me to get to heaven because I am baptized. If those people want to come to heaven like me, they should come to a Baptist church and get baptized.
But
we are the
one you are wrong. They will point out certain scriptures, and you know, because trust me, I've talked for hours with a lot of, and some of them will point to scriptures that you know, it kind of sounds like you really don't have to be baptized. So I mean, they're Christian just like you. You can't both be right, and they think you're wrong to say that.
I'm telling you that we're not both right. I'm right. They're wrong.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
that's what I'm telling you.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm an atheist. I just wanted to ask you that. Well, what about the issue of sin? Do you believe that once you become born again or whatever? I'm assuming you believe in born again. That you continue in sin? Do you believe that you're still a sinner even after you find Christ? You still sin. You still believe that? Do you subscribe to that?
Well, I believe spirituality and sin are a very personal part of somebody, and it's not proper to discuss your sins in public.
Well, yeah,
or how
I'm
you
not
feel
asking about
them.
you personally. I hope you
Right.
understand that.
But
but doctrinally speaking,
I will say
do you
this. I will
believe
say this. That I've been taught to believe that you cannot make others feel the same way you do. You can only lead by example. And by that example, they will follow you to the promised land, if you have you will. And, it's not my place to judge anybody for, only the Lord can have judgment. You know what I mean? That's not my place.
Well,
My
I
place
get
is
you, but
to
I
do
was
what the Bible
asking
teaches me to do,
about doctrine, though, because
which is to
doctrine is a
baptize,
reality. Because after all, we do have the
and to lead
Bible,
a good
right?
life, right? And fight evil when I come across it. And I don't mean to be rude, but apparently evil has come in disguise as you today. And I've put on my armor.
That's like saying
and I'm prepared to
the
battle you.
leprechaun curse is upon you. Do you understand what I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be insulting. Because I've asked several Christians this, and it's the same people sometimes. Do you understand what an atheist is? And after a while, they finally tell me, I have to admit, I don't understand what an atheist is. And I don't know if you were listening earlier, but my wife and I had a guest at our house, and she was from the New York City area, close to New York City. And so I point that out because, people who live in that area, they kind of, they've been around the block, and they're pretty sharp people. I told her I was an atheist, and she was like, "Oh, you believe in many gods, right?" And I was like, "No, that's pantheist." I said, "I'm atheist." She didn't know the difference. And she didn't misunderstand what I said. She didn't mix up the words. She didn't know the difference. So that's why I'm at, and I've run into that several times, sir. So that's why I'm asking, and I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just
in my experience,
I'm just trying to have an honest
atheists
conversation.
are usually
do you
people.
know what I mean by atheist?
In my experience, from what I've noticed when I come across them, is atheists are usually people from broken homes of poor moral fiber. I don't mean to be offensive, but that's just what I've noticed.
Well, congratulations. You just met one who came from a middle-class black family and educated. That's me. And there are others who did not come. My parents stayed married until my father died 3.5 years ago. I grew up middle class. My mom made a good living at having her own business, and my father worked. And I'm actually in grad school right now. And trust me, we did not live we lived pretty well, actually, compared to other people. Weren't rich, but I'd say lower middle class. So you met your first middle class atheist, okay? Well, not in person. But you, with all due respect, I still haven't heard you say to me what an atheist is. You talked about broken homes and stuff. But do you understand what I mean by atheist? And I'm trying to have an honest conversation.
An atheist to me is somebody that doesn't have the Lord in them, in the love of Jesus Christ. So therefore, they are a hollow, empty human who lack proper empathy and moral bearing or moral compass.
Interesting. Okay, that still didn't describe to me what an atheist is. An atheist is a person who does not subscribe or believe to a notion of a god, any gods, plural. It's that simple, to be honest with you. I could go on. There's a bunch of history how actually in India it was the precursors to what we call atheists. They had a movement back then, and until you get into the Greeks, we actually had actual atheists. But anyway, that's not relevant to what we're talking about now. You of course are aware, and I'm not picking on any denomination or religion, okay? But remember the situation with the pedophile scandal within the Catholic Church, and I'm not picking on the Catholic Church at all, and because it happens in Protestant church, trust me, I've heard about it. I grew up Protestant, so it's not just Catholic.
I'm a Baptist. I'm not a Catholic.
But this is my point, caller. This is my point, sir. Those are Christians
I've heard about it. Yeah.
who commit these what you call sin. Those aren't atheists. What about all these people who are having divorces from each other, who are they're both Christians?
They might as
and they're
well be
divorcing each other?
atheists because they're not Baptists. I don't know why you can't follow this along. If you're not a Baptist,
so they have
you're
to
going
be
to
of the
hell.
right denomination.
Like, they're doing it wrong. They're praising the wrong. They're doing it wrong. Like, God's not going to let them get up there and say, well, you almost had it right. You're in. Right?
You sound like the Pentecostals I grew up with. You know what? My late father, I had to get on him about the way he talked about Baptists. And I'm no disparaging the dead here. And my father was a good father. We disagreed so much on a lot of things, but he worked hard. And my father never took tithing because he understood that. And I actually agree with him on this. Tithing is actually for the Old Testament because you had to be Jewish, you had to be of the Leviticus priesthood, and the tribe of Levi. Last time I checked, these Christians who are taking tithing, they're not Jewish, they're not of the Leviticus priesthood, and this is not in the Old Testament times. What the hell are they doing taking tithing? You can look it up yourself, do a little research in the Bible. But anyway, my father never took any tithing from people. Now, with that said, I disagree with him. But, okay, so he felt that Baptists were Trinitarians. You know, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He would say that they believe in three gods. Well, you're Baptist, and you don't believe in three gods, right? You're monotheist, right? You believe in one God,
yeah,
right?
I believe in one God.
Okay, this is what I'm getting at, and I'm to show you that I'm trying to be fair here as an atheist. I would get on my father, A, when I was still in the church, and B, when I became an I was atheist. I still used to get on him about it, and he was saying that the Trinitarian viewpoint that I guess most Baptists have, he interpreted as Baptists believing in three gods, not the Trinity. There's a difference. And I would say, Dad, you got to stop saying that. That's not. They don't believe in three gods. You may disagree with them. We would go back and forth with that. And that's me sticking. That's me as an atheist sticking up, trying to make sure people are talking about each other correctly. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm an atheist.
There's only one God.
But I'm trying to show you respect.
Even though they refer to the Trinity as the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, I'm quite sure you'll find if you read the Scripture that it states in there that
I've read the Bible for several years.
When they asked Jesus,
thank you.
When they asked Jesus when he'll return, he says, "Only He knows."
Right. I think Luke. It's in Luke and the other. It's not in all the Gospels, or maybe it is, but Luke. I remember it used to stick out in me.
It's in the only one that matters.
The book of Luke. Ronnie, did you want to get in on this or?
No, y'all doing fine, man. I'm just listening. You know, I have heard a lot of it. You know, I've heard a lot of the arguments you're talking about. You know, where they want to separate the Baptists. You know, the Baptists say there's one God, and they say, well, how do you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost? That's three. You know, I've heard that before. You know.
But I mean, that's not the same as saying three gods, though. That's saying the Trinity is. They're like different. I believe in being objective as much as possible, and having read the Bible, I used to be a deacon. I said that earlier in my father's church, and now I'm an atheist now. But saying the Trinity is not the same as saying three gods, because as the Trinity, those who are Trinitarians, they would tell you this: that God the Father. Well, God the Son and God the Holy Ghost, as in Jesus Christ was in formation here. But anyway, there's a difference between Trinity and believing in three gods, because otherwise, Baptists and others who are Trinitarians, they would not be monotheistic. That is to say, they believe in one God. And I'm just saying, people need. I think this in this era of fake news, and I'm saying this as an atheist. I think people should be respectful of other people's views and not deliberately. And I'm not saying you're doing this, sir, at all. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying we have to be careful how we talk about other people. If we don't know any better, then we should say, well, as I understand it. I don't think we should go around saying things that we know are incorrect. Least of which, you could get sued for libel. In the United States, we're pretty litigious down here. But
the thing about over here is, you don't see the Baptists attacking the Methodists, and you don't see the Methodists declaring, setting bombs at the Catholic Church. It's like
no,
at least,
that's true. You don't, not now.
Just let them, freedom of worship.
That's true. I mean, it used to happen in Northern Ireland, but that was more political. It really had nothing to do with religion, quite frankly. That was more about Northern Ireland.
Are you saying that no people of faith ever get shot at their church in America? Because I'm pretty sure that that Dwayne Ruth guy went into a church and shot a bunch of black people while they were praying.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was some guys in Milwaukee went into a Sikh temple and shot a bunch of them guys because he thought they were Muslims while they were praying.
Right. I'm
pretty sure that stuff happens
or maybe
a lot.
he didn't care that they were Sikh.
Yeah, I go to a non-denominational church over here from time to time, and I have a good buddy that's a preacher there, and he's actually carrying a pistol. He preaches from the pulpit, and he has a pistol on his side.
Just like Jesus.
Well, I mean, is that really much different? I mean, and here's another thing, if I could say this real quick, and this ties in what you're just saying, Ronnie. Here, my wife's cat is opening the door so she can go somewhere else. I remember I was raised Pentecostal, as I told you. And I said this earlier. I was raised. We were raised in my dad's church. They're pacifists because thou shalt not kill. They take that one. I remember even before I left the church, I remember asking other Christians, "Hey, are you guys pacifists?" Most Christians I talked to, and there were several of them, doctrinally speaking and also personally speaking, most Christians are not pacifists. So, I mean, he had a gun on, to your point, Ronnie, he had a gun. But, I mean, given that most of the Christians I talk to are not pacifists, I mean, I guess that's consistent with most Christians' views. They're not pacifists. So is it really a surprise they have a gun? Are you talking about because he had it in the church, or?
He wears it in the church, and he carries it in the church because we had some threats. There were some threats on the church by some Muslim extremists in our area that they would come into the church and kill everyone.
Well, I can imagine that.
So he armed himself. He's like, it's not going to happen.
I can imagine that Muslims have to be kind of worried about all the attacks they've been going under, and there actually have been some Muslims.
And those guys,
though, if the Muslims showed up, they'd be like have assault rifles and stuff, and one preacher with a pistol was sort of, the outgun. Just saying.
I don't think he's the only one. I think there's a few in there that actually have guns.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, just having a gun. I mean, I do believe in self-defense.
Just like Jesus would have.
What's that?
I think Jesus was armed too.
Could you say that?
It's like
a lot of people don't
Muslims,
know that.
As far as the Muslims are concerned, we're all Christians. They don't check and see who's went to church and who's not went to church and who's.
Well, no, not all Muslims. No more than all. Not all. Okay.
They just soon killing atheists.
You know the KKK, right? They're a Christian organization, which a lot of Christians don't want other people to know that. And by the way, my mom. I told you my parents are from Birmingham, Alabama. My mom was across the street when the 16th Street Baptist Church was bombed by the KKK. I keep getting mixed up. There were 3 or 4 black girls that were killed. My mom was across the street when that happened. Okay? This is real. She saw terrorism from Christians, hateful Christians at that. Now, with that said, just because the KKK is like that, does that mean I'm going to say all Christians are like the KKK? Absolutely not. And I'm speaking as a black atheist. So if I can distinguish the KKK from the majority of Christians, why can't other people distinguish ISIS and Al-Qaeda from the majority of Muslims?
Okay, I get a question. I got to ask. So how many Muslims would you say are bad?
How many Muslims? What?
One out of how many? 1 out of every 10,000?
No, could you say? I couldn't hear you. You said something. I missed what you said.
So what would you? How many? Like what percentage of the Muslims are bad? 1 out of every 10,000?
Well, I mean, how many percentages of Christians are bad?
Well, we're not talking about Christians.
How do you
gauge
that? How do you gauge that? I mean, remember you got to flip it around the other opposite. I don't know how. I mean, how do you quantify who goes around. I guess you have to.
Well, you're the guy saying that none of them are bad. I'm just trying to understand the numbers.
I'm trying to answer your question, sir. If I may, please. I guess the best way you can quantify that is to look at how many people attacked. There are approximately 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, and there are approximately 2.1 billion approximately 1.8 Muslims in the world, and approximately 2.1 Christians in the world. And you mean to tell me of all the Christians that are on the earth, and we could just leave it to the United States if you want to. Of all the Christians in the United States, and my mom's bad history that she's experienced across the street when the Klan, and there are a lot of other stories she told me when she used to grow up, when she grew up in the South, United States South, back in the Jim Crow days. And this is real. My mom experienced this. Okay. I could have easily said all Christians are like KKK Christians, but I don't. I make a distinction. In fact, my wife is even Christian. Okay. So why is it that a lot of Americans like to tie in ISIS and Al Qaeda with the rest of the Muslim population? No more than I would do it as a black atheist. I don't equate all Christians with the KKK.
What's the percentage?
But I don't. You don't know the percentage. And what do you mean by bad anyway? Do you mean just attacks, like bombing?
How many of them are radical?
Oh, because they don't like Christians.
How many of them are radical towards the West?
I don't know.
One out of every 10,000? Would that be fair to say?
If you go to the Justice Department,
would one out of every 10,000 be fair to say?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to throw out a number like that because there's no empirical data on that. Okay, you see a few fuckers going around bombing people, and then automatically you're going to just say all Muslims do that.
Just trying to, you're the guy saying we don't have to worry about it.
No more than I see a lot of.
You don't even have numbers to back up what you're saying. That's all I'm saying.
I had a lot of problems with white Christians, but yet I don't paint all Christians like them. Just like I can distinguish the Christians from those white racist Christians, I hope other people can distinguish
you haven't done a very good job of distinguishing from
ISIS
Christians at all. Because I've had to several times tell you in this conversation that how I felt, and then you would keep trying to tell me about other Christians you talk to, and making their feelings my argument.
Having a conversation,
I had
that's
to keep
all.
bringing you back to my feelings. So you do a pretty good job of grouping everybody together
You're
yourself.
obviously biased. So I mean, I was trying to present another view to you. You're obviously going to be biased. I'm going to be biased, and I'm not going to change. You're not going to change. So there you go.
Muslims suck.
So okay. So what's the point of this conversation?
I think you were trying to explain why Muslims didn't suck.
Ronnie, did you want to have anything to add?
No, I think the big difference is, there's good Christians and there's bad Christians, but at least the Christians don't go to heaven for killing people who aren't Christian, so, I don't know what to do about this. I know there's more Muslims in the world than anybody else, but I think at some point the rest of them need to step up. I mean, I think the Christians, I don't know, but I think if a group of Christians over here started killing people in the name of Christ, I think the other Christians would intervene, and you don't see that with the Muslims.
But I mean, you're not really using realist. You're speculating, but I guess under the circumstances, it's okay to speculate. But you know what? I don't see Christians apologizing when Dylan Roof, by the way, the guy, the hate crime guy, and in that church was it North Carolina, South Carolina? I always get those two mixed up. But Dylan Roof was his name. That murderer, that terrorist. He was a terrorist. I don't see Christians apologizing for their fellow Christians when Christians, and some actually do, like Dylan Roof. But his is race based, but it still was tied in with the Christianity because that was all part of the white nationalism. I don't see Christians coming out.
I agree. They should. I think the Jews should apologize to the world for the killing of Jesus. But we haven't got that either.
Yeah, a good point.
Well, the Romans did. I guess you could say the Romans did their part when one of them speared the side of Jesus Christ and water came out. What about that? I'm sure that helped contribute to his death.
I think
I don't
he
believe
was
that
dead.
really
They were
happened,
just
to be
making
honest
sure
with
he
you,
was
as an atheist.
dead.
But that's a different subject. Okay, caller, did you have anything else? Do you want to talk about anything paranormal? Or, hey, while we're at it, is it okay if I do this real quick? Because this is what Michael wanted us to do.
I just want to say that I'm
hold
all
on,
done.
we got to do this. This is identifier thing.
I had a lot of fun on this call.
Sir, this is the guy who owns the show. I got to do what he asked us to do, sir. You can please like us, the Monster Council Paranormal. Please like us on Spreaker.com. And you like us, you can get automatic email from them. You can hear us on The Fringe. And you can go to Wolfman Mike 47 on Twitter, and you can see where to link up there. Okay, go ahead.
Wolfman is Canadian, right?
Yes, he is. That's right. You know
he's a Canadian.
Just saying. Think about that. Anyway, bye, everybody.
Hey, take care.
Okay, have a good day, sir. Have a good day. Thank you for calling in. Well, all right.
Wow.
Did you want to see? I personally like to go back. That this is a paranormal podcast, and we're now. I guess we're technically speaking, we're at a different level of the show, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I personally, I do like to talk politics and religion. Seems like whenever a lot of people like to latch on when I guess they're so used to not seeing or they're not used to seeing atheists or talking to atheists. I guess they just, it's like everything else is forgotten.
It's actually a real treat for them to get to.
They don't pay attention to them as a science fiction author and activists and all this other stuff. They just latch onto that atheist, and boy, that's the only thing they want to talk about. But what about paranormal stuff? Any news or anything you want to share?
There's so much going on out here. I'm one of those guys. I have an encounter. It's the last week of February and about the first week of March. It happens almost annually since the sighting. And I've actually had these. I've got some kind of alien stealth going on in my home, and I've got some pretty good videos of it. And last February, I seen it with my naked eye. Like I said, I was laying here in bed, and my wife was giving the kids their marching orders, and the light was on, and I was tired, and I dozed off briefly, and I woke up, and there was this white cloud of smoke, looked like hovering over the bed, and I thought, I've got teenage girls in my house, so man, it's not uncommon for them to burn something, So the first thing I thought was, oh my God, what are they burning in there? And then all of a sudden, this whole cloud of smoke that covered my king size bed shot off the side of the bed through the wall in a well lit room, and I saw that with my naked eye,
What did were your kids and your wife there at the same time?
They were in the house, but they weren't back here in the bedroom where this thing was at. And this is like the second time the first time we caught it on film, but I did not see it with the naked eye, but I seen it on film. And this is the first time I saw it with the naked eye. And so what this thing is?
When you say you saw it on film, you mean what happened in your bedroom, or excuse me, in your house, or you're talking about somebody else's?
It's in my house. First, we caught it on film in the living room when I was making a UFO video. It showed up. And the video is on YouTube called Man Escapes Alien Abduction with Pictures to Prove It. And at a minute and 31 seconds into that video.
I'm going to look that up. What's the fast way for me to get that? What's a key word I can search?
Man Escapes Alien Abduction. And it will show up right there at the top of the search.
All right.
And it's a YouTube video that I made several years ago. And at 1:31, the anomaly appears over my left shoulder. And it draws to an intense point, shoots into my head, and then briefly, while I'm talking, you can see it in my open mouth.
Okay, I wrote it down so I can check. I'm going to look that up later. I'm not going to do it now because I'm borrowing my stepson's laptop because mine went out. His is not in best shape either, so I'll look it up a little bit later after the show here. So so you have it up. Do you have a lot of stuff up in your own personal life that we can look up?
I've been like in the Metro News over in the UK. I was in the Italian blasting news here about a month ago, and the way I find out whether I make the news is I have the video on YouTube called Man Escapes That Induction. It's got 800, I think I'm close to 900,000 views on that thing.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
And I can look at this video and one day I'll have 5,000 views, which is not normal. That is like,
that's
and then
awesome,
once I see that, I can go and try to figure out why I had so many views, and I find out I made the news in Italy, And
well, I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm going to have to. Have you been a guest for Wolfman? Or,
yeah.
Or you just
called,
call in?
I can't remember what the episode is called. Goblins or something. It's got goblins in the title of it.
Okay, Goblin. So I looked that up too on his other page.
Yeah, I think it was February 2nd or something like that. I think when I was on there, and we did like 3 hours. So
yeah. Well, we're doing a lot more than that. This is truly a Monster Castle podcast.
I know. Yeah.
I've been
on a long time.
I call in like since 3:00 Central Time, U.S. and I'm still on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's the way it was when I did that show. They didn't tell me they had an after show. And I did like 3 hours on the show, and then I did 3 hours on the after show. So I was up all night long.
Yeah, this would be like 7 hours. I've never done this before in my life.
Those guys. They were having fun. They were so drunk, man. They couldn't even talk. Some of them were so drunk, man. They were passing out on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine.
And God only knows what they were saying before they passed out.
Yeah, one of the times I heard Michael playing the guitar, and he was not completely sober at the time, but he was in the office. He was in clothes, so he was fine, and he still sounded good playing the guitar. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Ronnie? Me as far as paranormal, because I like to get it back to paranormal. Ultimately, it's great to talk politics and all that, but I like to keep it on the paranormal, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Me personally, I heard some of the audience, a lot of people are probably gone by now, but we probably have new listeners, hopefully. But the closest things that I've had in my life, I would say the closest things to paranormal, which I don't believe they were, but the first one I'll tell you, maybe, but I don't think paranormal, but it's just, okay, first one, I explained this when I was first on Michael's show back in January. I'm not going to take long to each one. My brother and I were living out in the edges of Lincoln, Nebraska. It was a lot smaller then, before it started really growing. And it was kind of a development that had a lot of greenery. There weren't a lot of development. And so that's important because we were isolated. And it was a foggy day. We were playing. We were about 10 years old. And it sounded like it was like in the afternoon. It was like a weekend or something. And it was like, I don't know, it was like 10-ish in the morning or so. And so it was foggy, but yet the light was distributed evenly because of the fog. And we heard this sound of like footsteps coming towards us.
Yeah.
We didn't see anybody. We looked around and we ran inside the house. Till this day, I have no idea what that was. To this day. And I'm 46 now. I have no idea what that was. I'm glad my brother and I ran in because you never. Now, one could get into. Anyway, that's one. I guess you could say paranormal experience. It's just I don't know what it was, so maybe it wasn't paranormal. The second one, and I said it earlier today, and so I'll just outline it. My first wife and I years ago, we were driving somewhere here in Lincoln, Nebraska, not far from the airport, and we saw some lights. It was late at night. And she saw it too. We were like, oh man, what was that? And we drove back home, and just a few minutes later, it was actually fireworks. It was not 4th of July. There was some kind of celebration going on, and I think I remember hearing in the news, oh yeah, I forgot that event was going on or something. So those are the only two things, the closest things I would say that were paranormal that I experienced. The second one, with the fireworks, that lets you know that you can't just jump to conclusions. The first one with the fog, when my brother and I were only about 10 years old. I was 10, and he was about 9, and no one else was around. You know what? Even from a practical standpoint, let's say if it wasn't something paranormal, what if it were some freak that wanted to kidnap us? So that I would say that's probably the closest thing to a paranormal experience that I had, and I don't know what it was. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion that it was some ghost or something.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just, I don't know what the hell it was.
I see stuff a lot, and I don't jump to conclusions. It's like I see some bright lights shining down, and I thought, oh my God, it's a big old huge UFO, and then all of a sudden I hear the helicopter propellers, and I know it's a fleet of helicopters coming from Dyess Air Force Base, and they turn for some reason they all turn their landing lights on, for some reason, But my first instinct, because I had seen UFOs, was, oh my God, look at this. And then I heard the helicopter blades, So, yeah, sometimes it's disappointing. But, the experience I had scared the living hell out of me. And sometimes I'll go a year without seeing anything at all. And then I'm thinking, I guess I'll never see anything like that again, And it's almost like it scared the hell out of me, but at the same time, I miss it. It's like, oh man, I'm never, never going to see anything like that again.
Right? I mean, you'd want to know, look, did I experience this or not? Most people are basically like that. And for me, even as a skeptic, and I remember I saw George Norrie in San Jose, California for the Alien Con from the History Channel, and it was just a few seconds, but I got a chance to tell him what it's something I've always wanted to tell him, because I would listen to him for years. And he was with some fans, and they were taking pictures. And I just saw the chance, and it's like, hey, I listened to you, but, I got to let you know that I'm a skeptic. I'm not a debunker, but I'm a skeptic. That's pretty much all I said to him. And he was like, hey, so long as you're open-minded, that's good. I say that because George Norrie, he's such a believer. If anyone's listened to him, most of us, I think, have heard of him. Not Art Bell now. I'm talking about George Norrie. He is very much the believer. And I was expecting him to kind of like, not curse me out, but I thought he would have been kind of frosty with me. But he was pretty cool about it. So I'll give him something for that.
Yeah, even and since I've really seen some stuff, I think it's even made me more skeptical. Because now when I see something, I have something to compare it to. So when I see something that's odd,
good point.
I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what it is.
That is an excellent point.
So it's not like I'm just going overboard and like, and I really question what I see anymore. It's like, now, come on, because I've seen UFOs don't mean everything's a UFO.
Well,
there's a lot of things out there, and I see a lot of stuff. I don't know what it was, but it certainly wasn't a UFO. It could have been a meteor. It could have been an aircraft would turn its landing lights on and back off. Right. It could have been the sunlight reflecting off a plane that was banking. I see a lot of things I just write off. So it's not like everything is a UFO.
Are you like close or within like the Dallas metro area? Well, actually, it's a metroplex. Dallas and Fort was it?
Yeah, I'm 80 miles. I'm 80 miles west of Fort Worth in Dallas, the metroplex, and our motto here is 80 miles to the metroplex. That's close enough.
Yeah, that's close enough for airplanes, because with the airport there and everything. So especially when you're in like a big metro area like that, I mean, it could be anything,
Yeah, there are so many. Yeah, because we actually go over there and work, and I'm just amazed at how much stuff is in the air over there, And there's always something moving around out there. But these some of these craft I've seen, they'll stay there, and there'll be a plane coming to them, and then they'll just blink out, and then a plane will pass by, and then they'll just come back on in the same place, like.
You mean like on the radar, or what do you mean by blink out?
I mean, there'll be a series of lights, and it'd be hovering up in the sky in the same place for a long period of time, and a plane would be coming near it, and it would just all the lights will go out, and I'll be looking at the plane going, oh my God, it's going to collide with it, and then the plane will pass,
just keep on flying.
And the plane is just a little ways out of sight, and then all of a sudden the lights will come back on again.
Is it
You know, so,
possible
yeah, it's
that
some pretty
it could
amazing
be
stuff.
strobe lights? You know, is it? Are we talking like the Dallas Metroplex again, or are you somewhere else?
No, this is off out in rural Texas out here, pretty far away from anything like that. You
So
know,
yeah, I'm just
and the
I'm
sky,
just trying to do
you know, the
deductive
sky's so
reasoning.
clear I could see planes like 30 miles away. You know,
Wow.
and then
That's pretty
some of these
far.
things will disappear. You know, from darkness, they won't move into the air. They'll just appear, and then they'll just go back out.
Could it be drones? You know, we talked about that before. There are thousands
Oh,
of drones, and now
I'm actually a
municipals
drone
municipals
pilot,
are
and I'm an
allowing
RC
them.
pilot. I have RCs, I have drones, and I'm even a rocketeer. I shoot
Wow.
rockets off, and
Awesome.
you know, and drones, they're very slow. I mean, they're slow moving, and yeah, they look pretty wild looking at night when the lights are flashing and stuff. But it's not something that you're going to be able to see from a mile away. You know, if you're
When you
very
say
close to
they're
them, yeah,
moving
you'll be able
slow,
to
are
see
you
them, and they
talking
look
about
pretty
the UFOs
wild.
that
But
you see?
if you're a mile away and you see this thing, you're be lucky to see it at all. You know.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I want to say that we have a few minutes left, something like 5 minutes or so. Because then, and once again, and if you don't mind me saying this, Ronnie, this is Ronnie and Joe Seth Moore, guest, me, Joe Seth Moore, the science fiction author, guest, and Ronnie, guest as well. We're filling in from Wolfman Mike we got 5 more minutes, and Mike had those who listen often know that he had change in his schedule of work. So we're just kind of helping out, you know, trying to help a brother out, you know, in the paranormal world. You can listen to us at Spreaker.com, Spreaker, Spreaker.com, and like us, the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio, Spreaker, like it, and you'll get the automatic email, the Fringe, Facebook, and of course Wolfman Mike 47's Twitter page, and you can do that too. I just want to say that real quick. Where would you like to wrap up the last few minutes, Ronnie? What would you like to say to the audience?
I would just like to say to them that when you go out at night, you know, keep an eye on the skies, because you know what I seen was real. You know, it's not made up. It's not fantasy. It's not. I'm not trying to get attention. I've had an ongoing encounter with these things, and I've seen some stuff that would make people. If anybody was there with me, you would automatically, you wouldn't wonder anymore. You would know. So I'm a disclosed human being. I know that they're here. I know they're in our skies, and I know they know we're here. And you know, whether these guys have always been here, whether they're just now getting here, I don't know. But I could tell you what, they left, and they're going to tell somebody else that we're here. And sometimes I feel like I might be. I know how the Native American feels that seen the first wagon train. You know, I can tell everybody what I saw, but I can't make everybody believe what I saw. But like I said, we don't know what's coming. You know how it worked out for the Native Americans. It wouldn't surprise me in a few years if these things just didn't. Like every morning when I go outside, I look at the skies, and I'm amazed that the sky's not full of them. And one of these days, I'm afraid I'm going to go outside, and we're going to all know that they're there.
Well,
it's going to be
the last
an amazing day.
Thank you, Ronnie. For me, I'll interject a little bit here too. Once again, I want to apologize for the heated discussion I had with the other guy. We did make peace before he hung up, so we were pretty cool. And I apologize for cursing. And even though it's podcast, I still want to hold a decorum. So I want to be the grown up as much as I can. So I do apologize to anyone who may have heard that. But again, the caller, I don't remember his name. We did make our peace before that. So if you're listening, and I apologize for that. You guys are really cool for listening. For me personally, I am a skeptic. I prefer to focus on that than my atheism. That's about religion. I'm talking about paranormal right now. So I focus on the skepticism. Now, being a skeptic, I'm not a debunker. I do not automatically say these things are not true. Just, do some investigation. If people have some proof, and I've already said Joe Seth Moore for Twitter, go ahead and just, post it to Twitter and show me just show me what you guys have in terms of the paranormal. I'm a big believer in the scientific method, and if I'm wrong, then I'll say it. I'll say it publicly as loud as I'm saying that I'm a skeptic now. But yeah, and things. So that's where I'm coming from. And it's coming pretty close here, and I personally like to think our buddy Wolfman Mike, and I want to say he's got a full-time job and he does all this. This guy is awesome, and he juggles guests, and we really appreciate him having the open mind to do this. So I really think Wolfman Mike, as well as Darren, Curtis, and everyone else who call it, even those who I disagree with. So I really appreciate it. So Darren, I got to throw it back to you because Michael left you in charge. So what would you like to finish up with?
Joseph, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. I've enjoyed it. And I think that's about it. All we can say now is good night, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and hang up here. So I'm not sure because I don't have my laptop's not really working the best. So it may just go quiet for just a few seconds, folks. But this is Monster Castle Paranormal Radio. Wolfman Mike 47. He had to go to work, and this is Ronnie and Joseph Moore, tonight's guest. We're just filling in for our buddy. So we're signing out. Thank you very much for all, and talk to you guys later.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.